You don't know what's out there.
That's why I would go.
Hi, and welcome back to Wild Dream, where we give you the freshest takes on the latest movies. My name is David.
My name's Daniel.
My name is Taylor.
And we just saw
Dune Too Furious.
Dune Too Fast.
We saw Dune Part 2.
Yeah, I'm into Dune 2. Dune 2 chicks at the same time.
Hey, let's go. Now, we couldn't high five just then because we have a different
Pod setup.
stew setup for today. Is this the permanent setup? No, this was... we've been walking around all day. We wanted to sit on the couch instead of in the chairs that we normally sit in that are mildly uncomfortable.
I'm full.
And we're full.
I'm
and we're,
sleepy.
And we're tired. So our plan is to just do the pod and then just take a nap, apparently.
I might take a nap while doing the pod, but you will see. Might be interesting.
Yeah, so I know you guys were like, oh man, these guys have taken a break for so long. They're definitely going to come back with a lot of energy and just be ready to, you know, that was a good thought. That was a good theory.
Good thought. And
Good
that's
thought,
why
good
we need
thought.
more of those.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for coming back. For those of you who really enjoyed the bonus episode, thank you so much for listening. We really appreciate that.
Yeah.
Thank you for being here today to listen to this episode as we make our return for season 4. This is the official season premiere of season 4.
Woo! Oh my God, there's a mob outside just
Oh my
going
God.
crazy. Guys.
They're holding up signs. They say, we love you.
Wait, oh my God, two of them are fucking.
Anyways, so since we did take a little break in between our bonus episode and the other break that we took, and then now we're finally back. We'll before we jump into Dune 2, we're gonna give a little bit of a rundown of what we've been watching since then, so you guys can be fully up to date on all of the Wild Dream news. I know you guys have been like, "Is this movie good? I saw it and I don't know.
I don't know.
Wild Dream is the ones who tell me if the movie is good or not.
Was it good or not?
Was it good or not? Drive Away Dolls, bad. I gave Drive Away Dolls 1 out of 10. It's one of the worst movies I have seen all year. It will probably end up being the worst movie I've seen this year, depending on how our Halloween Spectacular goes this year.
Is there a night swim lurking?
Is there a Night Swim on the brink? The thing about Night Swim is that Night Swim wasn't trying to be good, so it's a little bit, you can kind of forgive it for some of those things. Drive Away Dolls, it was like, it's supposed to be funny, but it's not funny. The main character is supposed to be Southern. She doesn't sound Southern. She like a Southern accent's like the easiest one to do. Like if you ask somebody from like Eastern Europe to do a Southern accent, they could do it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's how easy it is.
You just tap into it. You say, hello everybody. I'm done. I'm gonna go down to the creek and go to the. I mean, it's easy. Like we can all do this. You just tap right into it.
You were trying that just now to
right.
do a bad Southern accent, and it still sounded better than what the girl did in the movie. It sounded like she was just doing an impression of Miley Cyrus, and then Miley Cyrus was in the movie, so it was kind of weird. I think the movie. Can I say this as a straight white cis male? I feel like this movie
you can't say this. Go
You
ahead.
can't say that. You cannot say that.
You cannot say this.
As a straight white, as a straight white cis male, well,
Yes, sis.
I am a straight white cis male who has a podcast, so I can say whatever I want.
Oh, good point.
Why are you poking me?
As a straight white cis male, I'll just say that movie was very offensive to the lesbian community.
Let me call.
Now I don't
my
get
friends.
to decide that or not, but I just did. I also think that it was really sad to see Ethan Coen make a movie that was actually that fucking horrific, especially because he is the co-director of a movie that I said on this pod I thought was arguably, objectively, one of the best movies ever made, or the best movie ever made, in No Country for Old Men. So.
What, Reefer Oldman?
Hey, pal.
Just asking. I didn't hear the first part of what you said.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, so his brother carries. He carries every project they've ever done. He's the real talent. Turns out the whole time. Now,
I get it.
speaking of us making a movie together, That movie is nearly complete. We may be entering it into some festivals. And for those of you who don't know, sometimes when you enter a movie into a film festival, they require that the movie has not premiered anywhere else before they accept or deny it. So we may not be able to post it quite yet, but we do have some other comedy bits that we did film that will be coming out soon. So just be aware of that. Hey, you guys took a long ass break to make this little short film. We don't even get to see it. Just give us some time. We'll let you know what's going on.
Chill out.
Just keep stay updated on the Twitter and the Insta and the Finsta as well that we have.
And it gets sexy over there. Our Finsta is like our Wild Dream Finsta is us going, I actually loved Night Swim and I would never tell anyone.
No, our Finsta is like top 5 browsers.
Top 5 browsers most believable scenes.
Honestly, not a bad concept for a wild cream.
Look,
our wild cream Finsta.
all I'll say is that I've pitched some ideas to Dave for some Patreon episode ideas, and they are out there.
Yeah, you guys can get that on our OnlyFans at Wild Cream. Also, Dan and I went to the theaters to go see a little Shudder movie.
And you didn't review it for the pod?
And we didn't review it for the pod. Everybody knew we were coming back for Dune 2. We had to come back for Dune 2,
Who is
baby.
everyone? Who is everyone?
The OG Wild Dreamers.
OG Wild Dreamers.
Speaking of being an OG Wild Dreamer, we'll mention this more at the end of the episode, but we do have official merch. We have the only piece of Wild Dream merch that exists out there. It is available. It's a sticker. It's of the OG logo. We will tell you guys all about it towards the end of the episode, but just keep that in mind. So, Daniel and I went to go see a Shudder movie in theaters called Stop Motion. We were really excited to go see it because the trailer made it seem like this is going to be something new and creative and original, something that maybe we haven't ever seen before. And it had some elements like that, but overall, I think the movie had more potential than it executed.
I think so too. It was at least a nice attempt at something original and different, but it also suffered from a lot of just basic horror tropes and not even just horror, but the whole like the over. What's the word? There's too many like dream sequences. What's real? What's not?
Yeah,
like,
it's a lot of disassociation for the main characters. So then like these hallucination sequences feel like dream sequences in the same vein that we don't like dream sequences because it didn't happen, you know. And I'm not saying that those are the same as a disassociation type of thing, but it's got to that point because they did it so many times. If you've ever seen Black Swan, the plot structure of this, it pretty much exactly follows Black Swan, and you wouldn't consider Black Swan necessarily a horror movie, so they didn't do as much of horror as we wanted. But overall, I think the movie was pretty good. Driveway Dolls, I gave a 1 out of 10. Stop Motion, I gave a 5 out of 10. If you have Shudder, I definitely think it's worth checking out. And if you don't have Shudder at this point, who the fuck are you listening to right now? Because you know your boys are Shudder.
And we saw some trailers for some new Shudder movies coming out.
Oh yeah,
I'm definitely gonna add the Late Night with the Devil to my list.
100%. That one looks really good.
So yeah, it's really cool to see Shudder getting some actual theatrical releases. It's fun. So yeah, it was the middle of the road. It was fun though. We got to see it with our friend Natalia. I had a blast, and I think she kind of felt the same about it as us too. It was just like, it was okay. So we did see that. What else are you watching?
You guys ever seen that movie Requiem for a Dream? Dude, that movie's messed up, but good, dude. It's good as fuck.
Sorry, I'm just doing that because I mentioned a Darren Aronofsky film. All right, Taylor.
Nice. Taylor, what are you watching?
What have you been up to? What have you been watching? Don't talk about The Good Doctor on the podcast, please.
I've been watching The Good Doctor. I actually have been watching The Good Doctor. I'm catching up on the seasons because they just released their final season. I have also been watching. David finally made me watch The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith.
The Pursuit
Pause.
Pursuit of how? What?
Okay, this guy. David made me watch. Interesting turn of phrase. Made me watch. Why do I have to make you watch one of the most universally seen movies and widely accepted as a good movie?
Cut that. Cut that.
Hey, leave that in. Let the world see.
I just...
Oh yeah, I'm fixing to fuck you.
David and I have been together for like 8 years, and I struggle with being forced to watch movies. Even strongly insisted on. So The Pursuit of Happiness is one of those that took me a while. He had to talk me into watching Whiplash with him. I also watched Whiplash, which was really good. We then, after a
Whiplash,
while,
also a movie where the plot structure of stop motion closely resembles that plot. Anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, Whiplash was good, and better after I listened to a little clip of it. But anyway, The Pursuit of Happiness.
You're saying Pursuit of have something, and I can't hear the rest of what you're saying.
Pursuit of
Happy.
Say it with me.
I'm losing you. We'll just say the rest of the.
Anywho.
Hey, settle down, okay?
I love that movie. I shouldn't have waited so long to watch it.
Made her cry.
It made me cry a couple of times.
Pussy.
Bro, that's if you.
But also,
listen,
stupidest dad.
First of all, Daniel, I know for a fact you've cried during that movie multiple times. Second of all,
that's not true. I would never cry to that movie.
Why? Tell me why.
Because, I'm successful. Eat the rich, bro. Fuck you. You're one of them now.
Fair.
Traitor.
That's fair. No matter how you started out.
Like, bro, we're coming for you, dude. January 6th.
2025.
National holiday. I'm good, yeah. He really did.
I have beef
I'm gonna come.
sorry, I had to get the levels on that.
I have beef with the parents in that movie, though. Unnecessary drama. Unnecessary.
Yeah. Okay. So rewatching the movie with Taylor, I remember that the movie was based on a real person, which I don't think she knew that going into it.
I did not.
But yeah, I was like rewatching it. I was like, this sounds crazy. I kind of want to hear the perspective of his wife.
I do too.
Because the movie was
Why
like
would
just
she
made it
just
seem
leave?
like the movie just made it seem like she was just a fucking bitch.
Yeah,
just a real
and she just
grade
didn't
A.
care at all about her
see you
son.
next Tuesday. That just fucking ragged on him and nagged and was like, "You're a piece of shit, worthless human being who sucks and nobody likes you and you're fucking pathetic." Just all the time, 24/7. And then she was like, "I'm leaving you and our son
to go across the country and work in a diner
and work at a diner because you're a fucking loser."
Yeah, but on the other hand,
and I'm like, man,
the dad.
But he wrote the fucking book and the movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I have beef with both of them because, Mom, why the fuck would you go to New York and abandon your child? And Dad, why are you not just working so you can provide for your son? Like, he is doing a 6-month unpaid job for what? I get that he was successful in the end. I understand that.
It worked out for him.
But you forced your son to live in very dangerous conditions for 6 months.
Well, Taylor's thing was like, he's like, I'm still working on selling these fucking things that I bought so that I could sell them.
These bone density
instead of like
scanners.
Getting a job as a fucking taxi driver.
Like, be a waiter, part-time.
Yeah.
Something. God. But yeah, I'll give it like a 7 out of 10, only because it's from a single perspective, and only because it is based off of a true story. The fact that it's based off a true story from a single perspective, and this guy could have done so much more to take care of his kid, I'm giving his movie a 7 out of 10. Trash. Absolute trash. But movie making, the movie itself,
do you guys think his kid is
movie.
just like a fucking spoiled brat rich kid now?
Oh, he definitely is. What was it? It was Jaden Smith, right?
He means like the real life that it's based off.
I know. Yeah, he probably is because he.
But
well, Jaden Smith is cool. I fuck with Jaden Smith.
Jaden Smith was so cute in that movie. He was precious.
my review of y'all's recap of the movie is, his wife was a piece of shit to him. Well, sounds like Will Smith would slap another man to defend her honor. All right. Just his type.
All right. Did we have any other movies we needed to talk about?
Nope, that's it. Well, we do
it?
have another movie we need to talk about. It's called Dune Part 2. Ever heard of it?
Oh, that's good.
You know that drop that they do sometimes.
They did it the entire
Sometimes,
movie.
dude, that's all. That's the
whole
music
movie.
of the whole movie. Now, you guys
Alrighty.
know that it's no secret that me and Daniel are Denis Villeneuve fans. Okay, we talk about this director all the time, and spoiler free talk. The first thing I want to bring up is I didn't love Dune 1, and I'll tell you guys why. It has nothing to do with like the context of the movie. I think the movie was fine. It was like entertaining. It had good action sequences, but I was just bored throughout a lot of it because I just chose to give up on understanding it. And that part made it very boring to me because it's just so fucking much of this, the flim flam on planet blah bleak and and all this fucking sci-fi world building bullshit.
David is not a Star Wars fan, by the way.
I have seen every single Star Wars movie, okay? And I have virtually no issues with those movies. But that's the thing is like the people who are like, oh, Star Wars wasn't enough.
Sorry. Star Trek.
Star Trek.
Star Trek is where he loses it.
Oh, I've never seen Star Trek. No.
See?
But I mean, it's not that I don't like it. I've never seen it. But like Star Wars, it's like once you start getting into the people who are like, oh, and then you got to go watch the Clone Wars series, and then you got to go watch these other movies, and then you got to go read these comic books, and then these books, and they explain even more of the world with blah, blah, blah. No, I haven't.
Ooh, don't start. You did that with Marvel. You tried to watch the movies and the TV shows all in order. You gave up eventually after Endgame, but you did do that.
I did do that up until Endgame. But it's not like, but that's not a new world. They live in fucking New York City.
There's different worlds. There's different, the Guardians of the
Tony
Galaxy.
Stark lives in fucking Manhattan, and I have to fucking. That's the same as the planet Arrakis.
No, it depends on your attention span.
Arachnids, idiot.
You are fine with
No,
you fucking idiot.
Arrakis.
You don't even understand Dune.
You're both wrong. It's Arrakis.
that's what I said.
It's literally arachnid, and it is in the shape of a spider.
What movie did you watch?
What movie did you see?
Why? Oh my god! I saw the same movie as you. We were in the car. We took mushrooms. We go into the movie. We watched the movie.
Could you actually imagine watching this movie?
Oh my god! Oh my god!
Anyways, I say all of that just to say that was my issue with Dune 1. It wasn't anything wrong with the movie itself. It was with me and my attention span and my willingness to buy into a new universe and a new world, right?
Dune 1 the first Dune Part 1 2021 is very heavily world building.
Yeah.
That's very
and
heavy what it
that's
is.
so much of the plot that it's
is,
so much of this exposition that it makes the movie kind of hard to get into. But of course I loved the action sequences, and I am a huge sucker for Chosen One stories. Like I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, Harry Potter, The Matrix, like all of these like Chosen One stories where there's one person to lead everybody. LeBron James's career, just like all these, what I'm saying, these Chosen One things. So I was like, okay, I can fuck with Dune, for that aspect of it. That was way more prevalent in this movie. The world building or the world aspect of it, like I told Daniel about this. I watched a 10-minute or like a 5-minute recap of the first movie before going into the second one. And I was like, I didn't understand a fucking word that guy just said. Because they were just like, on this planet and these people and this race and this blah, blah, blah. And they did this and they went here. And I was just like, I don't understand anything that you're saying about anything that you're talking about. Can you just say Timothée Chalamet? Like, please. Just say Timothée Chalamet and then Zendaya, and I'll understand the context. This movie is way better with that. This movie is just like good guys, bad guys. And like that's all you need to know.
I think you will not understand a lick of the second movie without having seen the first one with all the world building.
No, I understand that. Oh,
you're saying for your attention span.
In this movie, I wasn't like, wait, who are they? Wait, what's going on? Wait, what are these guys? Yeah. I was like, these guys are the good guys, those guys are the bad guys.
I remember seeing Dune 1 for the first time and walking out of the theater and going, that was fucking awesome. And I never thought about that movie again until this movie came out. And I was like, oh,
fair.
shit.
Yeah, fair.
Oh, yeah, Dune 1. And then I started really thinking about it. I was like, man, I was really high on that movie. And then it just dissipated immediately. Because it really is just it's a blockbuster. It really is. It's not as different as a fucking Marvel movie and as... Transformers, and it's like all these big budget, big action. I must save this and that. Now, obviously, the filmmaker is a lot better than there's not I'm not like, oh, cool green screen shot, nice lens flare. Like it's just there's a lot more actual voice, story, and coordination to it.
The way that actually in the desert.
Yeah, like the way that they film it just feels very cohesive to me.
Yeah,
and it's not a lot of OTSs and back and forths and cleanup up on aisle 5. So it's like,
Yeah, the action is pretty.
It's definitely different.
Yeah, it's like,
But it's
the action
a
is not like,
blockbuster.
hey, CGI guy versus CGI guy.
Yeah.
type of thing.
And so but I did like the first one. Like I said, it kind of wilted like a flower just over time. Where I was like, you know what, it was okay. This one I did enjoy more. I liked Dune 2 more than Dune 1. I do agree with Dave that this was way easier to follow, not only because it has less factions and jumping back and forth. Remember, at least if I remember correctly, in Dune 1, there were a lot of title cards. It would be like, okay, transition, and it'd be like Arrakis.
Yeah.
And it would because they have to just force feed
And
the
a lot of
audience.
information.
It's like,
from
it's
the
like the
books,
only
yeah.
justifiable one because I'm like, I literally would not.
Yeah.
Because it's not like
Yeah.
fucking Poor Things where it's like, oh, they're in Paris now. It's like,
Yeah, with the
I
Eiffel
would
Tower in the
literally
back.
not know
Yeah.
what fucking place we were in Dune 1 unless you put a title card on the screen and told me.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
even if they looked at the camera and said, we are now in Gleebelop, I'd be like, where the fuck is that?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it seems like Dune 1 is just setting up the story. The majority of the movie is setting up the story. And what I appreciated the most about Dune 1 was some of the intricacies and cool stuff. Like, I remember liking the design of the helicopters that are kind of like dragonflies.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool. I love the scene with the sandworm. It felt very tense, and it actually was a lot of awesome cinematic like tension and suspense.
I know you were a big
loved-
fan of the worms, right?
I like-
That's part of the reason why you got the Disney
I did get
bucket.
the Dussy. And I loved
me to
That's
clarify
for
this.
sorry, for our fans. The Dussy is the Dune pussy, which is the
Dune
the
popcorn
special
bucket.
the special popcorn bucket at AMC for Dune.
We'll post a
has
photo.
the worm on it, and it looks like a pocket pussy.
Does he?
And people have been making memes and jokes about it. So this is canonically what we've started calling the Dussy. And Dan got one for this movie.
That's right, and we are very excited to announce.
The Dussy is our new listener submission bucket.
There you go.
So next listener submission that we pull will be pulled straight from the Dussy.
That's right.
If you can get your hand out of it.
And if you want to see what it looks like, go to our Instagram. We will have posted the pictures of Dan with his Dussy.
Again, at this point, you might have already seen it.
Yeah, I really liked a lot of the intricacies and cool stuff. It wasn't until the very end of Dune 1 where I started to really feel something from the movie, I guess.
Yeah.
So, like, the thing I disliked the most from Dune 1 was Jason Momoa. I was like, he's so not, he does not fit into
Dude,
this at
okay.
all. But by
Jason
the end of
Momoa
How dare you.
has fallen off so hard for a lot of reasons. It's like, we liked him a lot in Fast and Furious because he was the only character that wasn't a joke,
Family.
because he was joking.
Yeah.
Like, when we talked about that, if you guys want to go back and listen to Fast X, it was part of our Blockbuster series last year. But the thing about Jason Momoa is, like, ever since Khal Drogo, I'm like, he can't do a movie unless he's playing himself now. Like his,
guess, yeah.
He's gotten so big that it doesn't feel like he could do a movie where they just go, hey, can you just play the fucking character? He has to be Jason Momoa too.
But yeah, I remember by the end of Dune 1, I was like finally feeling something from the movie instead of just
Yeah.
being eye candy. And I was like, wait, this is like a story of someone born into privilege deciding to do a heel turn and like go, you know what? No, I'm going to fight for those that we've oppressed for so long.
Yeah.
I'm going to join those that we have caused so much pain. I'm going to lead them. And I'm like, this is a cool story. Wait,
Yeah.
this is, now I can tap into this. And right as I'm feeling that, they're like, stay tuned, the end. And I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wait,
Oh,
what?
shit.
You remember,
Exactly.
like, it
Yeah.
ends on a cliffhanger. So
Exactly.
I was like,
Yeah.
okay. But it got me excited. I got like chills at the very end of that
Yeah.
movie. And then I know that that's kind of one of the most criticized parts of that movie is the last line. I forget what it says. It's like, this is just beginning or this is just starting. It's like, we get it, part one. But
Yeah.
so with all of that gone, you have no more setting up. You have no more of this exposition dumps. You have no more. Dune 2 gets to just dive right into what they set up in part one. So they're already a leg up that they don't have to do that. And thankfully they delivered because I did like this movie. It did not feel like 2 hours and 45 minutes. It definitely felt like 2+, but it didn't feel that as long as it actually was.
Right.
But I do have to say this, and we can even get more detailed once we get into spoiler talk.
I already know where you're going with
We all
this.
talked about this.
Yeah.
When we saw Dune 1, I remember us saying, this should have been a mini series.
Yep.
Yep.
When we saw Dune 2, me and Dave, at least, I don't know if you agreed as well, Taylor, we were like, this absolutely should have been a miniseries.
1,000%.
I agree to a
it
point.
it doesn't even have to be a mini series.
Yeah.
It just needs to be a series.
Yeah,
I'm not saying
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this
Like
would only
Game of
work
Thrones.
as a one season. Yeah, it needs to be like Game of
I mean,
Thrones.
there are 6 books. There's so much content to absorb. And I'll get into the books in a minute.
Yeah, that's
Like,
one,
if it gets
one of the main
butts-
reasons we wanted to bring Taylor on for this episode, not just because it's the season premiere and you guys
I
love
have
her
a
and we love her.
sci-fi book
But she's also a
review.
huge sci-fi book reader. So she has like
Fantasy
this
is
great,
my
like,
genre.
yeah, she has a great insight into what makes a good sci-fi book, what makes a good sci-fi adaptation as well.
Yeah.
You know, and that aspect of
I
it.
know.
So
Yeah. I look, if it gets butts in seats and it gets people to the theater,
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome.
Great. Does not mean that it wouldn't have been, you know what I'm saying?
it would have been
Yeah.
better.
I
You would have
understand-
been able to add even more context. And you would have
As
able,
far as the story and what
Yeah.
it deserves and how much time it needs to be,
Yeah.
it should be a series.
I did not have trouble understanding Game of Thrones, even though that is another thing that has factions and families and wars and all these characters spread across an entire fucking world and like all this stuff. So it like from that perspective, it's like it really needed to be something like that because I think that it would have been better. And it's interesting that they chose to do this because the route that they went was sort of like the Star Wars route of just doing several movies and doing parts and chapters and series like that, instead of the Game of Thrones route, which a lot of other sci-fi series and movies and things have chosen to do, which blows my fucking mind considering how insanely popular Game of Thrones was. It's like, wouldn't you want to do that? Wouldn't that be the goal? Like I remember growing up just like having this perception of like, oh, like The Sopranos is the best show that's ever been made. Like that's just like, that was what people said. You know, it was like, that was the agreed upon objective best show ever made was The Sopranos. And then HBO was like, hey, check it out. We're also going to do this fucking, you know, pseudo wannabe Lord of the Rings thing. And then when people were like, okay, fine, we'll check it out. Ends up being now the greatest show ever made. Like objectively the
It
best show that's
definitely
ever
is.
been made.
It definitely is.
You know what I'm saying? In Game of Thrones. If you had given Dune to HBO, man, I can't imagine. And again, keep Danny Villeneuve even part of it. You know what I'm saying? I don't care. Like, hell yeah, I would still love that. Because while we were watching this movie, it was just so many points of the movie that I was like, that's an episode break. Boom, that's an episode break. Boom, that's an episode break.
Yeah.
Because
Absolutely. You can feel it.
yeah, you can
Definitely.
feel it when you watch the movie. And like what I mean by that is
fade
like
to black, they cut to black. Like these are definitely spots where
they change entire settings.
Yeah.
They change entire structures of
which they
different
have
families
to
and
get
things.
the story through.
They even have like some camera shots that are just making you expect some credits to roll.
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
The way that they kind of dolly
Yeah.
into a face.
Yes.
It's just like as the
Yeah.
music goes dun 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 dun.
Yeah.
It's like,
You're
oh,
like, okay, this is
will
an
be a
episode break.
Yep.
And like part of that is like when you guys are watching a regular movie, and I know because you guys listen to Wild Dream, you guys are so thinking critically about every movie
Right,
right
my
now.
movie heads.
Where my movie heads
Exactly.
at.
Movie heads.
We know our wild dreamers are critical thinkers and you guys are all beautiful geniuses, okay? When you're watching a movie, you can tell, okay, that's the end of Act 1, here's Act 2. And then you can go, that's the end of Act 2, here's Act 3. When you're watching Dune, you go, there's Act 1, there's Act 2, there's Act 3, there's Act 4, there's Act 5, there's Act 6, there's Act 7, there's Act 8. So like when we say like episode breaks, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's not a 3-act structure. There are several,
Right.
upwards of, I think, 7 to 8 acts in this movie. Those are
Big
episodes.
movie.
And even in the Game of Thrones comparison discussion, there is a reveal in this movie that we'll get to in spoiler talk that, oh, you just opened up a prequel series if you want.
Boom.
You
Yep.
just opened up a prequel
Yeah.
series.
100%.
Now, here's the worries. I understand the worry on their part of ever doing a series instead of the movie with this. And it is, tell me if I'm wrong. What's the big show now? Since Game of Thrones, what is the big show? It's the big show. Sorry, I just said the big show. Now I'm thinking
No,
of doing
They're
a choke
really-
slam.
He actually did have a show on Netflix. I mean, right now
There really
everyone's talking
isn't
about
one.
Survivor. That Survivor
no,
came
they're
back.
not. No, they're not.
See
No
how
one
hard
is
it is to
talking about
think of the
Survivor.
show right now? Because since that show, there has not...
Love is Blind
Nothing has
on my
really
TikTok.
hit.
People are always talking about Love on the Spectrum.
But you're right.
yes,
nothing
but see,
is
even-
hitting like Game of Thrones. That is a
Nothing is.
global.
It
is not. Yeah,
There's nothing that
not-
everyone's
phenomenon.
watching on Sunday night.
Every
You know what I'm saying?
single night without fail.
Yeah, like whereas yes, you are right. Like Love is Blind, The Bachelor, all
Yeah.
these are always going to be relevant. Any
Yeah,
reality
exactly.
TV, sure,
They're always
But there's-
relevant.
My sisters,
Yeah, but there's no show that everyone.
don't know how
He is.
There is no show that everyone is tuning into,
Right, exactly.
You know, collectively. So I see their worry with that because even
Yeah.
there's a Lord of the Rings show. I ain't heard y'all talk about that. Y'all watching Lord of the Rings on Amazon?
well, I didn't watch Lord of the Rings.
I'll get into it.
And then obviously there was the House of the Dragon that was supposed to be the big show.
that it was good.
Which, to be
It was
fair,
so-
that-
I watched it. It was so
it did
fucking
well.
good.
We contemplated doing that for the podcast, by the way,
Yeah.
guys. We were like, man,
It was a request.
If we ever did a show, like, would we like that would be the show we would do? But
Y'all should have watched it.
obviously, we didn't do it, so that's why it didn't fucking blow up. So
yeah,
I fuck with
we
Matt Smith. I
caused the
do.
issue.
we caused
But
these
yeah,
problems.
I'm just saying, I understand the fear of going, well, this might just
Mm-hmm.
flop and be another part of the catalog. And
You know what? I just figured that out.
What?
After what I just said. That's why. They said if we do a miniseries, we won't get on Wild Dream. Like, we can't.
oh my God, that makes
That's
so
what it
much
was.
sense.
And 2021, they knew. They were like, if we do a miniseries,
Damn
we'll
it.
never have a chance of being on Daniel.
Well, let me tell you guys something. In our bonus episode, we reviewed The Curse, which is a miniseries.
Boom.
We have shown that we are a little more open-minded now. We're experimenting. It's
Y'all
like-
really should watch House of the Dragon. It's so good.
We will.
It's not a Game of the
We will.
Game
a
of Thrones,
Patreon
but it's
ad.
good.
But see, it's like that was going to be the next. Oh, everyone's watching
Yeah,
this.
but that wasn't
And it
the
wasn't.
case.
And it did well, but
Yeah.
it was also like, well, even if it did well, it's just riding the coattails of the
Right.
last show that did this.
But it did well, but it wasn't shutting down the HBO servers
Yeah.
well. It wasn't doing
Yeah, I remember that. Like, I remember being like,
We
oh,
had
dude,
trouble
how are we
watching
gonna fucking watch this?
season 8.
Because HBO's servers would just be
Yeah.
trash.
When
so it
David
feels-
and I started dating, like he had to show me Game of Thrones because my parents wouldn't let me watch it. So he had to show me Game of Thrones, and it was the best thing I'd ever seen.
Yeah, I freaking this bitch was whipped because she was like, well, if I don't go over to my boyfriend's house, I'm not gonna get to finish this fucking show. So
The house I was in,
that's
yeah.
how you lock it down, guys.
Knock it down. Game of Thrones. Shut up.
Anyway, yeah. So it would be difficult to make this a series.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too stuck on this topic, but I
No,
just
no.
It's
I
just
think
it was
it's
just
a
a
good
big
topic.
thing that was going through
Yeah.
my mind
Yeah.
throughout the movie. Yeah, for sure.
It's like weird. It's like this movie was way,
Yeah.
in my opinion, way better than Dune 1, and yet it actually reinforced my thought that this should be a
Yeah.
series. It didn't get
Change
rid
your
of
mind
that.
about that.
Change it,
Right.
yeah. So,
Yeah,
but yeah, I really liked this. I really liked this movie.
Yeah.
I thought the music was actually better than it was in the first because I do think the first movie did have some really awkward drops of the like that stuff was a little goofy at times.
This one was very clean.
Really weird times to drop the music. This one was. We didn't even see this in IMAX, but it felt like it. It was that powerful.
Yeah, it was good. And we were on the edge
yeah.
too, like the edge of the theater.
This one gave me. There were so many, at least 4 or 5 times that I got full body chills from this movie.
Yeah.
from
Yeah.
Dune 2. So it really did. You get to connect to the story immediately instead of having to wait till the end for something to really happen that you can connect to emotionally.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed this one, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Yeah. I also really enjoyed this one. I think it was way better than the first one. I would recommend anybody who has the opportunity to go see it to go see this movie, especially in theaters while it's still in theaters.
Yes.
We did get a question from one of our close friends, Timothy, was also one of my filmmaking partners and a good friend of ours. Everything that he's been reading online has been saying this movie is industry shattering, greatest movie ever made, and will change the way that. No, this movie is fantastic, and it is really, really good.
Yeah.
It
It's
is
not
not
shattering.
industry shattering, and
No,
it is
no.
like I'm only saying that because he literally asked us that, and we
Yeah.
said you gotta have to listen to the pod, bro. He's like, fuck it. So no, it is not that, but It was really, really good, and it was really, really fun, which is so important for a blockbuster. If you're going to make a blockbuster, I have to enjoy watching it. There weren't really any performances that made me uncomfortable or made me, whatever.
Everybody was really good.
The comedic relief in the movie landed.
Yeah.
100%, which again, it doesn't bash you over the head with comedic relief.
Right.
It's very subtle, and it actually
it's
is
few and
really
far
good.
between, but it's good.
Yeah. Few and far
Spaced
between.
out. Yep.
Really, really good. Denis Villeneuve is a fantastic director. For cinematography is fantastic. The color was fantastic. The costume designs were fantastic, and so all of this, the coordination. And when you also talk, this movie obviously has these big, massive action sequences, and when you get to those, it's really difficult, I think, from a filmmaker perspective, to make those still interesting and entertaining to watch, especially because there's some other big studios who have done some of the most impressive things ever. So they actually did a really good job of having these sequences have unique characteristics, whether it's through the fighting style, through the costume design, through the weaponry, through the things like that they kept the action sequences that, even though it's just a big battle, really interesting and creative and awesome. So huge shout out to Dune. This movie made me a fan of the series. The first one I was like, ugh, I wasn't excited to go see Dune 2. I didn't love the first one. I wasn't like,
They sold it with
I
the
got
Ducey,
it.
though.
You know what I'm saying?
The Ducey.
The Ducey got me.
The Ducey woke America up.
The Ducey got us. The Ducey got us in
Ducey
the
got
seat.
butts in
He
seats.
said,
Butts in
America,
seats.
we heard you. And we...
Yeah. So yeah, and the biggest thing that was kind of going through my head leaving the theater was this weird perspective of the books of Dune came out a long time ago. They came out before a lot of these other sci-fi and fantasy things did, right? So like obviously Lord of the Rings was like way, way older, the oldest freaking thing ever. And then Dune is older than Game of Thrones is. It's older than all of the Marvels and like these comic books are. It's all, it's this weird, like, it's in this weird time frame where I'm watching the movie and I'm thinking, this is a little derivative. This thing is a little derivative. But then I'm like, is it though? Because this is based off a book, and that book is older than that.
Yeah.
So it's like, who's stealing from who? This reminds me of Game of Thrones. Well, Game of Thrones is based off a book that came out after fucking Dune did. So obviously they're just ripping off Dune. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, oh, well, this is ripping off Star Wars. Well, Star Wars is a movie and came out after Dune came out and after the Dune movies came out. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like the old Dune movies. So it's like, I don't know where that line is drawn. So I just want that to be clear, because once we get into spoiler talk, I don't want anyone to be like, oh, David thought that was original and creative. They fucking did that in blah, 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 blah. That line just cannot be drawn because
blah, 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 blah is actually a planet in Dune.
So Dune, the novel by Frank Herbert, which is what this entire sci-fi series is based off of, was released in 1965.
Okay. So
It
this
is
after Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the
books
Rings
came
was
out.
1954.
Okay.
10 years after. Wait.
So
10?
So Lord of the Rings is what so Lord of the Rings kind of like not created. I don't want to say it created the fantasy genre, but it like if the fantasy genre existed prior to Lord of the Rings revolutionized it and established this is what fantasy is.
I agree
and
with
then
that.
Dune is kind of that for sci-fi in a way.
No, I'll tell you what, The Hobbit, dude, they ripped off Lord of the Rings so hard. I don't know if y'all, I'm telling you, you have to watch these movies back to back. I lost my phone. I was like, literally copying this shit.
You get what I'm saying? So you have this weird like timeline of when these books that were about fantasy come out, these books about sci-fi, this book about sci-fi and fantasy kind of combined, then Star Wars coming out as a movie, and then Game of Thrones coming out, and then Game of Thrones, the television series coming out, and then Dune 1 coming out after all of that has happened.
There was another Dune movie. We don't talk
I
about
understand.
it.
But again, that's my point too.
talk
Then that
about
first Dune
Dune,
movie,
no.
I haven't seen that either.
Yeah.
So where does that line? What can I say was taken from Dune? What was so all these things have just kind of inspired each other to this degree of like, I'm not going to sit here and go, this was shit because it was taken from this, that, or the other.
Right.
And I'm also not going to take those things away from other things. Go, whoa, bro, fucking Star Wars just stole from Dune. Like, I'm not going to do that either. So just understand that I'm coming to this movie with the perspective of whatever I watched in this movie. If I hadn't seen that before, I thought it was great. And if it was a little bit derivative of something else, I still think they did it well in this movie as a separate entity. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I agree.
Also, I gotta say something while we're still in
Pre-spoilers.
Talk. Not that it has to do with the movie, really, but I need them to hurry up and finish this because I want Denis Villeneuve to actually make other movies. I just don't want him to be the Dune guy for a while.
Listen,
like I miss his other movies.
6-book series.
This guy,
you won't have him available for a while.
This guy was releasing Arrival, Sicario.
Oh, he did so good.
Enemy. Prisoners back to back to back. Dude was.
I've only seen Arrival.
And now he's just gonna be making Dune every 4 years, bro. Let him cook, bro. Get him out of this shit.
Okay, so off of all of that, let's get into why I'm here. The books. Listen, I can't give any perspective on the books because I made it, and I checked this last night. 18 pages into book 1 of Dune, which is sitting on my bookshelf right now, getting dusty as hell, before I gave up. That book is so goddamn boring. For perspective, I read Lord of the Rings and I enjoyed it. I tried to read The Hobbit. Very fucking boring. I've seen every Lord of the Rings. I've seen every Hobbit.
You've seen every Star Wars.
I've seen every Star Wars. I own some Star Trek movies. I have seen the Star Trek series. And I have seen all of Game of Thrones. I've read some stuff. Also, I tried to read Game of Thrones. I have not made it through the first book yet. I'll put another try to it because I want to see that series fleshed out.
So all this to say, my wife is a fucking loser.
I'm a fucking nerd. He married me as a nerd. He knew this. All this to say is I'm a huge fucking nerd. And the books for Dune started out too slow for me. And I've read some slow ass books. From having seen and read the Lord of the Rings series, the Hobbit series, and things like that, I love Dune. Dune is exciting. It is. I haven't sat in a movie theater and been so stuck in a world where I didn't realize I was in a theater for a good portion of the movie. And that's how I felt watching both the first movie and this movie. I got so sucked into the world that I did not feel like I was in the theater.
Yeah.
I have no complaints about the length, which is
love
insane.
that. Yeah, the length on both of these, I have zero complaints on.
Love length. Love the length.
Love the length.
You can
love
take that however
the girth
you
is
would.
10 out of 10.
Girth could use the work.
Girth, you think girth could use some work?
Length was perfect.
Length was perfect.
We're talking about the dussy, right?
Yes, of course.
You'll take that, dick.
I will agree with you that I do think it would be better as a miniseries simply because of how much content there is to create. I have yet to watch the Lord of the Rings series. After watching the second Dune movie, I want to go and watch that Lord of the Rings series, which I will probably start tomorrow. And I'm saying all this to say that I like this as a movie structure because I've seen things like Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit. I like it as a movie because it does compress those more boring parts. Like if they made this into a miniseries, there would have been a whole episode on just one house, And sometimes in Game of Thrones, I would have been bored by houses that I don't give a shit about. Series like this suffer from that. So I think there is a place for it to be a movie, and there is a place for it to be a series if they wanted to, but I prefer it in the structure of a movie because I've seen Lord of the Rings. I know what they're compressing, what they're taking out is shit that doesn't really matter in the long run. I'm sorry to those of you that are very serious fans of Dune, but it's just true. Okay, Lord of the Rings, the book was boring, and they did take shit out for the movies that was not necessary to the story. So I like this as a movie structure. I think compacting the action, compacting the story like this works really well for something like this, even in a 3-hour time constraint. But it's so good. It is so good. And being able to throw myself into a world like that is one of the best feelings as a fantasy reader and fantasy consumer.
This is the longest spoiler-free talk we've
Well, we
ever
have a
done.
lot of only spoiler-free listeners, so
That's true.
maybe we should start beefing these up and
Maybe.
then shorten the spoiler talk. I'm just thinking out loud in terms of business.
Well, in terms of
All right, let's
business,
talk
we
a
should
little
sell
bit
more
more.
fucking stickers.
Y'all need to see Lord of the Rings.
Buy those stickers, Wild Dream stickers. We'll tell you about it at the end of the episode.
We will. We promise.
And we'll have a link in the description for
And we'll have a ret.
guys been watching Good Mythical Morning for the first time. Hey guys, let us know if you guys want us to rip off Good Mythical Morning and just do that
Can we just try different cool foods?
Yeah.
for 20 years. By the way,
Yeah.
Still look in be in impeccable shape somehow?
I don't know how they're doing it.
so let's get into spoiler free talk.
Did you have another vision?
Yeah, I saw everyone at the end of the movie. They were all dead.
What the fuck? Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
All right, warning.
No, stop.
You need to have seen the first movie before we get into this, okay?
So yeah, it's a spoiler alert for both Dune 1 and
Dune
for
2.
Dune 2. So just throwing that out there.
All right, cool.
In Dune Part 2, Paul Atreides unites with Shani and the Fremen while on a warpath of revenge against the conspirators who destroyed his family. Facing a choice between the love of his life and the fate of the known universe, he endeavors to prevent a terrible future that only he can foresee.
So let's get into this. The first thing is Paul Atreides, aka Timothée Chalamet. His character has 5 names in this movie.
He does.
So
True.
From henceforth,
Usul?
we will be calling
Usul?
him Timothée Chalamet.
Usul?
Yeah. Look, let me hear the names. We have Paul of Atreides,
Madip,
Madip,
Madip. Usul.
Usul,
Usul, Galahilo,
Galahilo.
and
Rico.
Willy Wonka.
the it's like Alisam Lagangi or whatever. Like it's a really long one. I can't remember that one.
Wait, let me Google that one.
and also Paul, and also the
Atreides.
name Atreides.
And also Timothée Chalamet.
And also he is referred to as his position of like Fingor or whatever.
Yeah, so a ton of different ways to refer to Timothée Chalamet in this movie.
Lisan Al-Ghib.
Lisan Al-Ghib.
Lisan al-Ghib, yes.
Okay, so tons of names.
I also want to say there were a couple scenes in this movie where I understood the hype around
Okay.
Timothée Chalamet. He was a little...
Listen, I'm glad you said that because I was like, dude, he's fucking hot.
He's fucking hot in this movie.
Okay, can I
don't know
just
if
say
he gained
this?
some weight or something, but oh my god, there were a
Did
couple
Timothée
scenes.
Chalamet get lip filler?
I don't care if he
No
did.
way his lips were that big.
I
in
don't
the
care if
last
he
movie.
did.
Look.
There's one single scene
Dude
in
had
Wonka
pencil-thin
where I was
lips
like,
in the first one.
Yeah,
But
he's
yeah.
looking good. He is
"Hey,
looking good
with
in
that
this.
hood on. Oh,
And Lady Bird, I was like, yep, he looks like a fucking 12-year-old boy
Yeah.
that he's playing.
he's looking great in this
And
movie.
now I'm like, okay, okay, Timothy.
Timmy.
Now,
I Chalamet understand the hype
Yeah.
now the
my
other part
God.
of this is very easy to understand. Zendaya plays the character Shani. She only has that name, so we will refer to her as Shani.
She's
But-
Fremen.
Although she does tell him her secret name, and I kind of laughed because her secret name in the movie is just almost Zendaya.
Yeah, it's like
Zihaya.
Zinhaya.
Shahaya.
Shindaya.
Something like that. I was just like, oh, just say Zendaya at this point.
Yeah.
But anyways, Shani. Zendaya is Shani. And Zendaya is Michi.
All right.
So the reason why we're talking about those two characters, so then we're going to have another character. This character's name is Timothée Chalamet's mom.
it is Lady Jessica.
Not going to remember that because she also has multiple names, okay, and multiple titles.
Yes.
So again, we are doing this for you guys. We are doing this for you because you would not understand a fucking word we were saying if we went through all of their names and all of their fucking places and all of their blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yes. So just to recap, we're 3 in.
We're 3 in. We have
Paul, Timothée Chalamet. Zendaya is Michi.
Zendaya is Michi.
Zendaya is Michi.
We're not even going to go by her character name.
We're not even
Zendaya and or Michi.
and or as known as possibly ulterior motive
Michi.
Michi. And then we have Timothée Chalamet's mom.
Okay,
Who
Timothée
is
Chalamet's
Lady
mom.
Jessica / Reverend Mother.
Okay.
Reverend Mother.
And she's also a Bene Gesserit, which is important too.
She
Yes.
was a Bene
She was a
Gesserit.
Bene Gesserit.
Now she's the
she is
Reverend Mother.
Now she's the
Her
Reverend
old
Mother.
ass, bro. She's
She
a
has all this
has-been
writing
Gesserit.
on her face like
She looks great though.
I mean, she looks fantastic.
So we are 3 characters deep. The 4th one, he is named Gurney Hollick. I did not remember that being his name.
Bro, he's addicted to Gurney.
It's Josh Brolin. He plays
Okay, yes, and this
Timothy
character's name,
Chalamet's friend, who was his dad's friend.
and for the remainder of this episode, that is Josh Brolin.
I thought you were going to say Thanos.
Oh, we can do that too. Okay, I'm gonna retake that.
He was Thanos too.
Okay, you ready? And for the remainder of this episode, that is Thanos.
Okay,
Okay.
we have Thanos.
We have Thanos. Okay.
Number 4. Oh wait, 5. Character number 5 is Baron Vladimir Harkonnen.
The Baron.
The big,
can remember
the big
that.
We can do that
fat
one.
pale
We
guy
can do that. We can do Baron.
that goes in the goop.
Now, whatever his fucking last name was, absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
Now,
Vanderpump
the Baron,
Rules, whatever.
the Baron has a nephew, and the nephew is Elvis.
Elvis.
Is
Yes.
Elvis a bad beach in this
Okay?
movie?
So henceforth, we will refer to him as Elvis.
I cannot pronounce his name even if I tried.
Exactly.
Elvis.
So
Number 7 is Dave Bautista.
correct. Dave Bautista, who plays Dave Bautista.
And honestly, the rest of the characters, aside from Christopher Walken and Florence Pugh,
Well-
do not matter.
Javier
so-
Bardem. We need that guy.
Yes, Javier.
Oh, I thought you already mentioned him. He's
Okay.
very important. He's
So
very crucial.
find his character's name too. Okay, while she's
Stigler.
doing that,
Stilgar.
Oh, yeah, Stilgar. I remember.
Stilgar.
Christopher Walken. Christopher Walken. Daniel, can you help me out here? He plays the Emperor.
How about I stab you in the face with a soldering iron? You remember that in Joe Dirt?
Yeah.
He was in Joe Dirt, by the way.
Oh my God, Christopher Walken was in Joe Dirt.
You're
I
talking to
didn't
my guy
expect-
all wrong.
I did not. I thought they would probably get like Florence Pugh level actors. I did not think they were going to get. How have I just forgotten his name? Christopher Walken for this movie. I don't know why.
I think that was extremely easy to do.
I actually
know,
still
but
don't
I
know
just
how I
didn't
feel
think-
about that casting, actually.
I actually
Fair.
didn't
He's
like
probably
it.
going to die in the
The
next
look
movie.
was good, but like,
Yeah.
his voice is literally just not.
He's just Christopher Walken.
Yeah, it's just not. I can't believe.
Like we are at a point where Christopher Walken either needs to be a nobody or himself in every movie.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just going to be a joke. Because my favorite Christopher Walken, my favorite character he's ever played, I swear to God, is his character in Balls of Fury.
He was great in that movie.
Because not only is he great in that movie, but it's hilarious that he is the guy.
Yeah,
Because
he was
he's-
actually perfect for his voice was perfect for some of the delivery of the jokes.
Yeah.
of him going, or as the Chinese call it, ping pong.
Yeah.
yeah, it's like
Exactly.
Yeah,
He goes, ping pong. Or as the Chinese call it, ping pong.
yeah,
He does it twice.
yeah. It's like, oh, this works. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Anyways, so Christopher Walken and his daughter Florence Pugh. Christopher Walken plays the Emperor. So the Emperor,
She's the
Christopher Walken,
princess.
that's the same person. Florence Pugh is his daughter.
The princess.
Okay, we have another character. This character is the mentor to Timothy Chalamet,
Javier Bardem,
Javier Bardem.
and he
Is
plays
he his
Stilgar.
mentor?
He plays Stilgard. We can call him Stilgard.
Yes, yeah.
So, with that said, now let's get into the world part of this. Okay, real quick, I'm going to recap all of Dune 1 for you guys, okay? Here's the most important thing to know about Dune 1. Timothy Chalamet is the son of a very wealthy family, okay? The wealthy family was asked to take on the task of collecting spice from this planet called
Arrakis.
Arrakis.
The spice is the resource that is used for all intergalactic space travel. It's the most
Makes it
valuable resource.
fast.
So the real world equivalent. This is gasoline. This is
Yeah.
this is their version of oil.
And it is very dangerous
It's very
to
dangerous.
get.
Or as us Texans say,
Oil.
Oil.
We all immediately knew where he was going. For all of our friends and family back in Texas, we know how your parents say that.
that's
word.
right. We're just
Oil.
making sure you're represented.
Yes.
They're like, what is oil?
Yeah,
Oil,
very
oil.
confused. Oil.
Now, this is their oil, and when they go there, okay, they learn that it's very dangerous to do this, and it's very whatever. But if they're able to do this successfully, it will make them one of the most valuable and highly praised families in the universe. So the Empire, who is the government of the universe, they're like showing favoritism towards this family. So the Baron, who is the bad guy in the first movie, he is like, well, I need to set up a coup to kill the leader of this family because then my family will not be valuable anymore. because we won't be in charge of spice production. So he sets up a coup.
Don't let them get too hot for their britches.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So because he's afraid that they're going to have the favoritism of the empire, he goes and he sets up a coup. He kills the leader of this, which is also Paul Atreides' son. Or sorry, Paul Atreides, aka Timothy Chalamet's dad.
Oscar
His
Isaac.
daddy.
Oscar Isaac.
Daddy.
In the process,
I'm just
Oscar
kidding.
Isaac's character, he has poison, which, by the way, they're able to do this coup because his doctor, who was taking care of Timothy Chalamet's mom, who was pregnant, like opened the gates for them to come in. Okay, so
it was an insider.
it was an insider.
It was an inside
So he
job.
gives Timothy Chalamet's dad poison to then try and kill the Baron. It doesn't work. So
No.
what Daniel's talking about with him dipping in this like black sludge,
goo.
we're assuming this is some sort of like sci-fi version of like recovery, like a magical,
Forever life.
forever life recovery goop that he takes big baths in.
Because he's a big boy. He needs a big
Because he
bath.
almost dies from the poison that is released at this time. Now, in the process of this, the family gets scattered. Okay, so Josh Brolin goes in one direction.
Paul and Jessica go somewhere else.
yeah, Paul and Jessica go somewhere else. The mom goes with
Chalamet.
with Timothy Chalamet.
Jason Momoa
Jason
goes
Momoa
with
sacrifices
Oscar
himself.
Isaac. Miss you, Jason.
No, Jason Momoa sacrifices himself.
Oh, he did. Shit.
Yes, so Jason Momoa dies in the first one.
I should have watched the first one.
Yeah, that's why I'm doing the recap right now. In the process of doing this, Dave Bautista is promoted to being in charge of all spice production by the Baron because he is the one who is successfully hunting down and killing the Atreides family.
Regrets and
Okay,
mistakes, the memories made.
Okay. And
where we are at the beginning of this movie is that Timothy Chalamet discovers that the people who live on this planet have been being oppressed by the empire and even by his own family for generations.
awkward.
So here is the real life understanding of this world, okay? These are the native people being forced out of their own land so that we can mine their valuable resources.
The oil.
Their oil, their spice production, okay? They do not want us to do this. And in the process of doing this,
Tough shit.
they have destroyed their ecosystems. They have destroyed their planet and just turned it into a barren wasteland that is extremely difficult to survive in.
Pun
They
intended.
being the Fremen.
Now, this planet is covered in sand dunes and sand dunes part 2.
Oh shit! It all makes
That
sense.
is not why it's called Dune.
Okay. So he decides that he's going to fight with the native people of this planet in order to prevent the Empire from continuously collecting spice on the planet and to help them accomplish their goal of repopulating the planet with greenery and bringing water
Taking back
to the
what's
planet.
theirs.
But
Okay.
then the Empire strikes back. Oh,
Pun.
Puns.
and some more puns.
That's where we are at the beginning of this movie. So here's another piece of information that's important to understand about the world of this movie. Okay, so now you guys understand the Baron, they're the bad guys, all right? And they work for the Empire. Bad guys.
Bad boys,
Easy to
bad
understand,
boys.
right?
Yep.
What
They're
you
the bad
gonna
guys.
do?
The good guys, they are the Fremen, okay? They also have an army, and the army are a different thing, not called the Fremen. It's called something else. But whatever.
The
It's not,
United States military.
no, they're not the United States. They wish they were. Which, by the way, I was thinking that throughout this movie. I was like, bro, the Empire low-key trash because they are getting like fucked up by these rebels, right? Quote unquote. They're the equivalent of the rebels in Star
is
Wars.
just Star Wars.
I was like, bro, okay, if the Empire wants some tips to be a government that just fucking forces native people out of their land in order to take all of their valuable resources, we might know a couple people who can help them out with that.
Yeah.
Hey, spoiler alert, you're going to have to not give an absolute fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, but that's beyond the point. So, here's what's important about the Fremen. The Fremen are split up into two sides as well. You have the people who are very religious, and those people believe in a prophecy that entails of Timothy Chalamet being the Messiah to these people, right? He is going to lead them to freedom and he's going to, whatever. On the other side, you have people who don't believe in any of that shit, and they believe that their freedom will only come if they fight for their freedom, and they push the Empire to force them to do this. The problem is that both sides are correct. Yes, they are going to have to fight, but also you're going to need his help because of what he is capable of. Now, this character is capable of a lot. Not only because he's a great fighter, he was trained on how to fight while growing up, but also because his mom is a Bene Gesserit, which is essentially a witch, right? So
a witch.
She is a magical being. They have the ability of sight, and they have the ability to control people with mind control and things like that. So they are very powerful people. They're usually people who are involved in a lot of politics and things like that, obviously, right? And they are advisors to like some of the highest people in society.
And they have some of the coolest and creepiest costumes.
They do.
Oh yeah, their
They
costume
also-
designs make them look. They're like, oh, we don't like the word
Fucking
witch, and it's like, you dress like
You
that.
dress like a witch.
Yeah.
They also anticipated the coming of Maldeep, who is
Okay.
Paul.
Yes.
You can't be talking about
And-
deep and coming. Yeah, chill out.
And
We're trying to talk about a movie here.
they orchestrated it. So we're clear.
So the prophecy that was foretold is not just believed by the Fremen, it's also believed by the Bene Gesserit.
you
So
were
the
getting
people
there.
who have these magical abilities that are just like Paul's mom, aka Timothy Chalamet's mom, just like that, they believe in this prophecy too. But the problem is their prophecy said that this woman was going to have a daughter. And that did not happen. She had a son. And they were like, well, that's a problem because us, the Bene Gesserit, are all women. So the only people who are capable of obtaining and having these abilities and these powers and this magic are women. We've never
course.
seen a man do this shit. So
Never.
we don't know if they're capable. So if you guys have seen
You never
the clips
would.
from the first movie where he puts his hand in the box and they stab him in the neck, that's all part of the ritual to become a Bene Gesserit and to be given the sight of being able to see the future. But every time a man has ever done that, they died.
But
So
Timothy
the
Chalamet's
fact that-
built different.
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet, he's him. Let him cook. He's built different.
And he's her. He's
And-
a
And
Bene
he's
Gesserit.
her. He's a
her.
Bene Gesserit.
And he's her.
We love an inclusive king.
We love an
Yeah.
inclusive king. So he has the ability to see the future, and that's a big part of this movie. Okay, it's a massive part of this movie, massive, huge, big part of this movie. Now that we have all of that established, we are not going to go through every single plot point of this movie because, god damn, this movie is fucking long as shit. Okay, the opening scene of this movie is the good guys. So, oh, by the way, getting rid of the names, Fremen
Fremen are the good guys.
are the good guys, and the Empire and the Baron and his family, they're the bad
bad
guys.
guys. Nice.
Bad guys.
At the very beginning,
I'm going to take over right here. So
bad guys,
Hang on one
the bad
second.
guys,
One
shut up.
second.
Shh, shh, shh,
you said we could take over.
said
Shut your
we
mouth, shut your mouth,
could.
shut your mouth, shut your mouth. I will mute both of you. Okay. All right. Daniel and Taylor are officially muted. Okay, it's just us here, guys. So at the beginning of this movie, the bad guys come in, and the bad guys are walking towards them, and they go, oh shit, they're calling a sandworm. So they know, like, okay, a sandworm is coming. They just hit a button on their freaking suits, and they just start floating into the air. Not like uncontrollably, like completely within their control. They can adjust their height. They're essentially just flying. And I was like, why would you ever walk? All right, you guys are unmuted. Thoughts?
I agree.
I agree.
This gets used later by Thanos, and so his suit has it too. And so I'm like, they really established that suits can do this.
Yeah.
Why is it not used more often?
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's like, because you're right.
Yeah.
Why would you ever walk is really the actual ultimate answer. But even not going that far, why is this not used more often in general?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the battle sequences, for
Yeah.
like making it harder for them to aim on you and
Maybe
shit
it's
like that.
limited air.
I don't know. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe we just don't know. Like maybe there's something in the book that explains like this is a limited
I
thing.
bet there is.
Fuck, I'm gonna have
I'm
to
sure
read
there
the
is.
fucking book.
But at the same,
Dude, the Flippy
flip
Flam,
flaps.
it runs on Flippy Flam, which is a limited resource on planet Gorgons. So you know,
Yeah.
and it's actually really hard to mine from there because it is so far, and it's actually controlled by the. So they
right. So the point is that at the same time as I say, why would you ever walk again? We then have a character in the Baron, and we're like, oh, that's why you have to walk. Because if
right,
you don't
right,
walk
right,
ever
right, right.
again, you end up like,
You
the,
end up
Baron,
like the Baron.
who looks like a fucking character from Wall-E.
it looks like Jabba the Hutt. Is it Jabba the Hutt? Jabba the Hutt.
He's an interesting design. He's like fat buff a little bit.
Who?
The Baron.
Yeah.
If you look at his
He looks
shoulders
like if
and
a
his
guy-
traps, it's like, damn, this dude fucking lifts. He's like a power lifter.
plays
Yeah,
the Baron?
he's like Kingpin.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. But anyways, so that is one of the things I wanted to bring up. If y'all want to know the plot structure of the first act of this movie, it's mostly about Timothée Chalamet learning the ways of the desert, quote unquote, and getting in with, like, earning the respect of both sides of the Fremen.
Yeah, he's
So
getting
the good-
initiated by the Fremen.
Yeah, so because both of the good guys are split up into these people who believe he's the Messiah, he's the chosen one, he's going to bring us to victory, and people who are like, fuck you, you're actually a piece of shit, we're going to be the ones to get our own
White
freedom.
boy.
We don't need you, white boy.
We don't need you.
There's really
Whitey.
only two characters that act
He
like
has
that,
to
honestly.
he has to earn the respect of one side by being a fighter, and he also has to make the other side understand what he wants from them, instead of them just assuming he's going to fix all their problems. He has to show them it's still going to be a fight no matter what.
That's
Yeah.
right.
And while he is doing this, his mom, who is pregnant, is forced to become the Reverend Mother,
Or she dies.
or she gets killed. That's what happens. And so
And you'll never believe what she chooses.
And so she chooses to become the Reverend Mother.
'Cause she's
Essentially, what this
preggers.
person is the person who is in charge of having all of the knowledge of their people. So, so when they get super old and they're about to pass away, they have to find another Bene Gesserit. They have to find someone with magical abilities, and they have to have them drink what they call worm piss.
It is worm piss.
You know, they call it the water of life.
It's like a
A blue
topaz.
raspberry.
No, not topaz. Topaz?
No.
What is it?
Blue.
It's blue. It's really, really blue.
Super blue. It's like Haley Joel Osment's eyes blue.
Yeah, it's, like, blue raspberry
It's blue raspberry. It's blue raspberry blue.
It's
Yeah.
ocean water from Sonic Blue.
And they
Hey.
suck it, and they suck it out of the worms
And they
when
suck
they
it out of
kill
the
them.
worms. So when they drink that, they're given
baby
all of
worms.
the knowledge of their people from the beginning of the
Right,
planet to
right,
ever.
right.
But it also gives you the knowledge of yourself, of everything that's ever happened to you.
Yes.
So we learn something crazy about that later in the movie. But
That's
that's
right.
what's going on in this first act. Okay, he is learning to be a trusted warrior,
Mm-hmm.
and she is A, becoming the Reverend Mother, and B, she is just spreading to everybody, hey, my son is him.
Yeah.
And Zendaya
He is
or
him.
Michi is falling.
Zendaya is Michi.
She is falling for Paul.
She's falling.
She's falling for him. So a little bit of romance as well.
Yeah.
Which is nice. And it's pretty, they don't linger on it too much, which I like.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to talk about
Let's talk about sex, baby. Let's talk about you. And
That's my wife.
let's talk about all
I'm
the good
singing it.
things
Get my
and
wife's
bad
name out of your
things.
fucking mouth.
I do want to talk about, because you know how she becomes the Reverend Mother, and they're like, she's pregnant. What have we done?
Yeah.
You know, when she drinks the worm piss. This baby in this fucking movie.
I knew you had a problem with
I
this.
wouldn't give a shit if she was talking to the baby the entire time, which she was. The baby apparently is sentient enough. This is not a fully formed baby, okay? The first two shots of this whole fucking movie were a fetus in the womb as a pre-baby, before it has legs, before it has arms, you know, when it looks like a tadpole. Is the first two shots of this movie, and it's speaking. So this infant can speak the whole movie while it is developing in Jessica's womb, the whole fucking movie, and she's talking to it the whole time. I would be okay with that. But they show shots of this fucking baby in the womb, like looking up and smiling and everything. I'm like, please stop, please.
It's a little uncomfortable.
I thought it was I mean, I could be totally wrong, but I thought it was some kind of nod to 2001. But
2001.
Space Odyssey.
Space Odyssey, yeah. Like with the,
Oh, yeah. Maybe.
I don't know. It's just that's one of the goat
Again,
sci-fis.
another thing that's
Yeah,
like,
maybe,
who's
maybe.
taken from who?
Yeah, who's taking from it?
Yeah, it could have been, but I giggled every time they showed a shot of that baby in the womb. Every single
No,
time.
I did think it was kind of silly.
There was one specific one where
yeah, I think,
she like took her sweater off of her tummy, and they showed a shot of the light coming into the womb, and the baby was like, get that light off me.
yeah.
The baby said, "Bitch, what the fuck?"
So yeah, so she
Close your
talks to the
sweater.
baby, and the baby talks to her. I think the
The whole
insinuation
time.
is that when she drank the thing, that the baby was also given the same powers
Yeah,
that she has.
that's what they showed.
And so
Yeah.
now she has the abilities to communicate with her via like telepathy, which the
Yeah.
Bene Gesserit can do already.
That's fine. I'll accept that, but stop Stop showing me this
Yeah.
baby.
So that's what's going on in the first act. Now, meanwhile, while they are fighting the Empire or fighting the bad guys, while the good guys are fighting the bad guys,
striking back.
so the good guys are trying to halt spice production, and the bad guys are trying to find the bad guys are trying to find the good guys to kill them and get rid of them.
Get their ass.
Now,
Little twerps.
the good guys are split up into yet another separation.
Oh, no.
The people in the
brother.
north and the
Shit.
people in the south.
Yeah.
The people in the south, again, here we go. Another line. Where does this cross? Game of Thrones, the north people, where they live beyond the wall. And nobody can go beyond the wall
This is
because it's
beyond the
uninhabitable.
storm.
This is beyond the storm in the south.
Sandstorm.
So the sandstorm in the south is uninhabitable by human
constant
beings.
sandstorm.
But they are there, right? Because there are millions of them that live south. And this is a massive part of their community. But only the people who are willing to fight for their freedom are the ones living in the north.
Yeah.
So,
The South's just a bunch of Trumpers.
Sounds just a bunch of bitches. Wait,
Just a
what?
bunch of goddamn Trumpers.
well, that's the thing is that they're like, oh, the southern people, they're very religious. And I was like, okay.
Now, this I
that.
understand.
That
This I got.
That I get.
Pretty straightforward. This is the
is what's
most
happening.
setup, of the
Right.
movie, but it's not actually set up. It really is just being on the journey with him, of him learning the ways of the Fremen. It's really, really cool. Amazing tension in the scene where he has to learn how to ride a sandworm.
Yes.
They actually played that really well. It's like, I already know it's going to go well, but I'm actually kind of worried for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah.
Essentially what happens
Really
is,
cool
so the first part where he earns the respect of them is they are trying to take down this, not only are they trying to take down one of these machines that is used to produce the spice, to mine it, essentially. They're like
Mind the spice.
mine the spice. Yeah, it's this weird, like, they call it spice production, but then it's really more about mining
this?
it. And it's like,
It is weird.
It takes like the sand and then separates the sand and
separates
the
it.
spice.
I don't understand how it's
That's a
done.
whole thing.
It separates it into different categories. So you got like posh spice, you got
And then you also have oregano and and then you have
Rosemary
salt
on
and
the
pepper.
side.
Push it real good. Oh yeah, sorry, I forgot to mention this too. The spice also makes you hallucinate. The Fremen are
They have this
immune
little
to this
filter
at this point because they're completely filtered through this
Yeah.
whole thing. So
Because of that, they Zendaya, who is not a believer,
and Ismichi.
and Ismichi assumes that Paul's visions are hallucinations from the spice.
So she
Which is
doesn't.
a fair assessment.
It's a fair assessment. She doesn't
assessment
fully
as a
believe that
realist.
he can see the future and that what
Right.
he's seeing is real. She thinks it's all in his head, kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
because he's been exposed to so much of this.
Which I
spice.
kind of
much
love.
spice.
I
Yeah.
love that she's like,
she's like,
She's a very
"Shut the
practical
fuck
person.
up."
she's like, look, I fucked this dude's brains out last night. He ain't all that. It's 6.5.
Don't let Tom listen to this episode.
It's fine.
I'm gonna come.
I'm gonna come. Anyways, yeah.
You gonna take that dick.
I actually really love that she was like, "You're not all that, dog." Especially because
Yeah.
she's in love with. Like, she's like, "I am
Right.
in love with you,
And
I'm
you're
falling in love
not
with you."
all that.
And you're a
not
cool
it.
guy.
Yeah, you're
And
not
I think
him.
that's important though.
You're not him,
because
bro.
if it weren't
Yeah.
for her,
I've been married to him too long.
if it weren't for her, that's such a good important part of his character arc.
Yeah.
Is that he cannot believe in himself, which I think is a very important part of every chosen one story. Like every chosen one has to not believe in themselves to that degree for them to become that person, right? So you have the Matrix, and in the Matrix, Neo sees the Oracle, and he's like, he asked the Oracle, like, "Am I the one?" And she goes, "No, you're not." And he goes, "Okay, well then if you're so smart, what happens next? Whatever." She
Yeah.
goes, "Well, you're going to leave here and you're going to remember that you don't believe in any of this bullshit anyway. And then you can become whoever you want to become. And if you want to be him, you can be him." And so that's what he needs to not believe in himself in that moment. And Harry Potter, when they, in Order of the Phoenix, they're like, "Oh, Harry, you're the best fighter that we know. You should teach all of us and you should be the leader," and blah, blah.
He's like, that was luck.
He's like, I was lucky. I had a lot of
lucky.
help.
I had help,
People,
yeah.
if it weren't for other people in my life.
Right.
And he goes, also, this shit is fucking dangerous. And if we
Yeah.
do it, we're probably going to die.
He also said, I don't want to be him.
Yeah,
I just want to be a kid.
yeah. And he's like, I just want to be a kid. And I
Yeah.
don't want this responsibility.
I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare.
And then you have like
Jon Snow?
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Jon Snow.
They were like, lead us, you're the one. And he was like,
He's like,
I'm good on that, bro.
Honestly,
Exactly.
I'm good.
I'm good
Call
on
this
Jon
that.
guy.
Snow. So it's like
Y'all being extra, bro. Come
Yeah.
a
on.
lot
Too
of
much,
these
too
like
much.
chosen one stories are like this, right?
Yeah.
You know, and even LeBron
Yeah.
James, he was like, I just want to go play in Miami. It's like,
God.
no, you need to come back.
LeBron James
and you
is
need
not
to win
the chosen one. He's
with
just a
Cleveland.
basketball player.
What I love too, I love Stillguard. This is such a religious, like, it is so accurate to religion. Literally, no matter what Chalamet does, he's like, this makes so much
Sand
sense.
thing was
like,
so funny.
He's like, hey,
It's just like it was written.
He's like, hey, you're the chosen one. And he goes, no, I'm not. I'm actually not.
Actually
That is
not.
literally capped. All
I
that shit's
can't
capped.
do what
And he
you're saying.
goes, what a humble king. That's exactly what the chosen one would say.
Yeah.
He would never
I bow
say
to you.
that.
And it's like, it is, I mean, it's funny,
Yeah.
but it is also religion. Anything you say
Comedic
will
relief.
be interpreted as,
Exactly.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
that is written. That's the God's
It's
word.
exactly. It's just like, you know, like in actual religion, when bad things happen, they're like, this is to test us.
It's a test.
Test our faith. You know.
It's a part of God's plan,
When
not
the-
ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just
God's
like
plan.
Yeah.
God's
Hey,
plan.
y'all fuck with Jay.
Yeah, hey, y'all fuck with Jay.
You fuck with Jake.
Y'all fuck with Jay.
Yeah.
When the-
Hey,
fuck with
hey,
Jake.
Stop. You fuck with Jake.
Do you fuck with Drake?
You fuck with Drake.
Taylor, right now.
Taylor, right now, for real.
No,
Do
I
you
don't fuck with Drake.
I mute my.
Hey, we gonna be right back. Hey,
bro,
we
her
gonna
mic
be
is
right
muted.
back.
Her mic is muted for real.
Give us.
Her mic is muted for real. For real.
fuck with Drake.
Her mic is muted for real. For real.
I can't trust the closest ones to me.
God's plan. I only know that one. Y'all know when that highlight bling?
Hey,
Hey,
Taylor, you know when that highlight
You know
bling?
when that highlight bling?
I do know when the highlight
Even,
bling.
hey, even you don't fuck with Drake, you know when that highlight bling? Do you know when that highlight bling? I do that.
No constant. You know when that highlight bling?
I do that to make Brent laugh all the time because he will. The more like absurd it gets, he'll laugh every time. I'm like, let's go, like Drake. Nah, you fuck with Drake though. Nah, we got dead eye. You fuck with Drake though.
I'm gonna get y'all some braces. And some face tats.
That's crazy.
Okay. Okay.
I wanna
Anyways,
die.
so
I was gonna say during the movie when he like turned around, he's like, he's a humble king.
Yeah.
I leaned over to David and I said, that would never be Jesus. Jesus was like, people would ask him like, are you him? And he was like, yeah,
Yeah.
he's like,
of course.
they're like, who are you?
What?
He's like, Son of God.
Son
They're
of
like,
God.
They're like, actually, we're just
Holy
We're taking
Spirit.
attendance. Oh, Jesus.
Jesus, sorry, Jesus.
He's like,
And
they're like,
as
wait,
per,
are you here to? He's like, yes, I'm here to save all humanity. They're like, oh, I need my roof fixed. Oh, yes,
Yeah.
I am a carpenter.
Oh,
I am a carpenter.
I am a
Yeah,
carpenter.
no, I am here
Oh,
to-
that's
Excuse
carpeting
me.
shit. Yeah, I can do that too.
yeah.
Yeah,
And he
yeah.
just flicks his finger. He's like, done.
I mean, I'm the best. I am the best.
I am.
Yeah, I'm the
Yeah.
best at that. I could also build men.
Men. Did you come back to life from the tomb? Of course I
couldn't
did.
help
Yeah,
but
of
notice that
course
you guys
I did.
have water. You didn't have any
Any
wine.
wine?
I actually know a guy.
And y'all
I'm gonna
only
be
have
real.
one
This
loaf
water
of
shit,
bread?
lame. Let's turn the fuck up. I seriously still think it is interesting of Javier Bardem as the comedic relief.
Yeah,
because this guy played No Country for Old Men. He played the villain.
Yeah.
This guy, if you've ever seen Beautiful from Alejandro Iñárritu, this guy played a heartbreaking role.
Yeah.
This guy has played
so many
serious,
serious,
stern,
dramatic
calm,
roles.
quiet.
Yeah.
And now he's like just funny, and it's just so awesome to me. This guy has
Yeah.
range, is all
He
I'm
got
saying.
range.
Really, really good actor.
Hire Javier Bardem.
Which even then too, you know, he is Hispanic in real life,
Yeah.
and this character didn't. This character felt more like what they were emulating than a Hispanic character.
Yeah.
you know. So yeah, he is a phenomenal actor.
Yeah.
And when he was the funny one in the movie, I was like, what can he fucking not do?
I know.
Like there was a scene.
I know.
Like he's one of my favorites. So they are going to destroy this spice mining machine.
Spice mining machine.
But in the process to do this, they also have to destroy a helicopter that is shooting down their people. So they they can destroy the air support, whatever. And so Timothée Chalamet helps do this by essentially sacrificing himself, putting himself in harm's way so that Zendaya's character can blow up the helicopter, and they're all proud of him. They're like, okay, so that's part of like the acceptance. He has to go and do these things, these sacrificial things in order to earn their respect. But then he's not doing it to earn their respect. He's doing it because he believes in their mission.
Yeah.
He believes in what they're doing because his family was part of the people who oppressed them. His family was part of the people who wanted to mine this spice and be part of this production. And
It's how
when
he
his
got his
dad
money.
came to the planet, his dad's plan was to Dad's plan.
Yeah, I was about to say that. God, we are so the same. Dad's plan.
Dad's plan. His dad's plan was
Hey, you fuck with Oscar Isaac.
Hey, you fuck with Isaac.
I do fuck with Oscar.
She said, hold on, I do fuck with him.
I do
Like,
fuck
hold
with
on,
Oscar
hold up.
Isaac.
You fuck with daddy?
Even
I fuck with Daddy. I'm
when
gonna
he
post a
came-
picture of Oscar Isaac on the Instagram. To
his
be like,
plan was to make friends with the Fremen. Like his plan was to work with them for this, and that he was going to build relationships with them. So when the Baron came in, he was like, "No, fuck those dirty folks." Those dirty sand people. Like he's just super racist.
Yeah.
And his planet, by the way, we're going to talk about this too. His planet has a black sun. So when you're out and about in their planet, you look
black
like
and
you're
white.
completely white, like
It
black
was-
and white.
it was really
It was
cool.
a really, really cool effect.
cool
And I was like,
effect.
that's a
I
really
loved it.
interesting concept that like if you spent more time in the sun with a black sun, that you would get more and more white instead of darker.
Yeah.
And so like
Dude, it's
the
kinda metal.
Baron is like
is.
our society we consider like more attractive people to be tanner or like whatever, and then it's like in there it's like the pastier you are, the more attractive. I don't know. It was a really interesting concept.
Dave Batista.
My
and
point
Thomas
is
kills Elvis.
They're really into being
They're
bald.
Yeah,
really into being bald.
I think
Quite
that's-
the opposite of what you would. So usually it's you have a lot of hair and a
And you're
beard and you're
tan.
tan.
Yeah.
No, it's completely hairless
Yeah.
and pasty. It's
The
hot.
Maybe
Like,
that's why the Baron hated Oscar Isaac so much.
Because he's
tan,
dark
he got a
skinned,
lot of
beautiful
hair, he's got beard.
incredible, facial structure. It's just like
Dave's crushing.
Dave's crushing.
and huge cock.
I'm just saying, Oscar Isaac is my Pedro Pascal.
Okay, guys, this episode's gonna be so fucking long. Okay,
What are we
so. Yes, he has to ride one of the sandworms. When he rides the thing, they're like, oh, this was part of the foretelling.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's what else is going on in the movie. He's having visions of himself going to the south. And in every vision he has, when he goes to the south,
He's sitting at a barbecue restaurant.
he's sitting at a barbecue
He's wearing a
restaurant,
flannel cut off.
and somebody goes, we don't serve your kind here, boy. And he goes, are you talking to me? Are you talking to me?
He says, I ought to put a 6-shooter bullet right between your eyes. And he's wearing a shirt that says, come and take it. He wakes up and says, oh, God, I can't go south. Sorry. Can we get serious, guys? Stop fucking around.
I'd rather be from the south with a shirt that says come and take it than be from the west and have a shirt that says take it and come.
Wait a minute. Can we make a shirt? Can we please make a shirt?
Take it and come, Wild
Take it
Dream.
and come.
No, I want the little cannon on it, the little star, and I want it to say take it and come. That is a good shirt
It's a
idea.
little cannon, and with the wheels, it looks like a dick.
Yeah.
It says take it and come.
Take it and come.
Give me a moment. Let me sketch this out. I got this, guys.
That's genius.
That is so good.
What does a cannon look
oh
like?
my god, that is so fucking good, and I cannot wait to make that shirt and sell it. Oh, Wild Dream merch. It's gonna be fucking crazy, guys. The Wild Dream merch is gonna be insane. You'll have to buy stickers or we're not making more merch.
Please.
Please. For real, guys.
From the beginning.
From the beginning.
Michi is Zendaya.
Zendaya.
Zendaya is Michi. So, the problem with this is that in his visions, what he believes is going to happen, and again, his visions are very blurry, but this is what he thinks is going to happen. He thinks if he goes to the south, that they will worship him too much and that he will cause a religious war, and that war will lead to the famine and death of billions of people.
It will.
Which, of course, as we know from reality, war-based religions do lead to famine and
It's
death
likely.
in the masses. So we understand what his concerns are. Okay,
Reformation,
but at the same
anyone?
time, everything that is in this prophecy has come true. So the audience, it's a little bit of this dramatic irony where like the characters are like, is he the one? He doesn't even believe he's the one. His mom is very sure of it, and his girlfriend isn't, and all this stuff, right?
Let me
But we
say
know
that.
that he is, right? We know because we were given the full prophecy in the first one, and we know that everything that's in the prophecy has happened. So even as an audience member, you're like, you want him to go to the south. You're like, oh man, like whatever. So again, this is good storytelling. We know he has to go to the South. He doesn't want to go, but he's going to have to be forced to go for some reason or the other, right?
Right.
So, do we dwell on this, on him not wanting to go to the South for an hour? No. We don't do this. What we do is we bring in another bad guy. So then we get
Bad
introduced to Elvis.
Elvis.
Now, Dave Bautista's character...
Boy, what you want to do?
The reason why Elvis is necessary is that Dave Bautista's character has failed miserably.
Trash.
Containing. He's fucking terrible.
Yeah, his character in this just fails at everything.
And his character actually has my favorite scene in the movie. Spoiler alert for my favorite part of the movie. Okay?
Damn.
And here's what happens in this scene. Because again, I just like when people get fucked up, like cocky assholes get fucked up and bad guys, in a movie. Like this is like when Jon Snow fought the ice people and he has the fucking sword that can kill them. And it's like, yeah, you guys fucked up. You guys thought you were going to be all cool and badass and come over here and fuck us up. How dare you? You know what I'm saying? Like this is their moment of this, right? It's when Dave Bautista, he's like, fuck this. We're just going to go down there and we're just going to fucking blow them up. So he just shoots a bunch of bombs into the fucking rock.
Which is where their temple is.
He thinks that their temple is.
The Rock
right?
was in this? I don't remember this.
He does this, but then what ends up happening is he covers the fucking whole area in this dark smoke. And these people can survive in this element and in the sand really well. They've adapted to their sight has adapted to this. They all have these blue eyes where they've adapted their ability to see through the sand. They've adapted their ability to breathe even while underneath the sand, things like this. All these different abilities and technologies that they've developed to survive in this environment.
Yeah, and the camouflage.
Yeah.
Is real
This
good.
other people don't have that. And their fucking armor is designed like shit.
Yeah, totally.
They have no mobility. All they can do is point and shoot. That's the best they could do. They have no hand-to-hand combat abilities
look
because
like the
they're
Rhino
just
people in
very
Doctor Who.
like whatever. Also, their armor sucks ass. It can't prevent stabs or shooting. So why are they wearing it? That's beside the point. So Dave Bautista lands on this area and he immediately realizes they are completely have no sight, whatever. There's no vision. And again, part of the reason why I loved this, it's just really, really good filmmaking to make this scene really badass for the Fremen, for the good guys. Because as they're like walking through, they're like, oh shit, and they realize they can't see anything. And then someone just pops up, stabs a dude in the throat, rolls away, and they just completely disappear in the smoke.
Yeah.
And you go, oh fuck.
Really awesome visual.
It was really cool.
It like makes your like heart drop for the bad guys. You're like, you guys fucked up. You're in a really bad position here. It literally gets to the point where someone they are like fuck this. They have to run because they're like popping up out of the sand,
Out of nowhere.
fucking stabbing people, and then
just
just rolling
going
away
away.
and just
Yeah.
disappearing. And they're like, we're fucked. And the whole time they're doing this, you can faintly in the distance see
He brought
Timothy
everyone
Chalamet's
too.
character. Yeah, he's like Timothy Chalamet's character is like slowly.
And Dave Bautista's character
Walking
know
up.
exactly who this is.
Yeah, and he's
because
like-
isn't Dave Bautista the one that killed his dad?
He is.
Yeah.
But they think that he's dead. That's very important.
Yeah, they believe he's dead.
They think that Paul Atreides has died. They think Timothy Chalamet is dead.
they destroyed the whole family line, which was their
And
goal.
they also know that if they didn't, well, that's going to be really bad.
That's gonna be really fucking bad.
It's going to be really bad for the Empire. It's going to be really bad for the Barons. It's going to be really bad for everybody. So they're very scared of this. So when he starts to see him and he goes, oh shit, this might be this guy.
Might be
He's
who
like,
I
fuck
think
this,
it
we have
is.
to run.
Yeah.
It was my favorite scene in the movie. So Dave Bautista sucks. So
Yeah.
we introduce Elvis. Now,
Elvis.
here's what's important about Elvis. Elvis is the nephew of the Baron. And
he is
Elvis is
sick.
like a fucking psychotic
Sociopath.
He's Joffrey. He's King Joffrey.
Yeah, he enjoys
Yeah.
pain. He enjoys inflicting pain, receiving
Yes.
pain.
He's a psychotic
he is a
person
psychopath
who enjoys killing people, and that's all he is.
and will
right?
do anything you ask him as long as it involves killing
Exactly.
and torturing.
And not only that, but he's also dumb, which means he is
dumb-dumb,
very
susceptible.
very susceptible to being controlled by the Bene Gesserit. So the people who have the magic, who can control people's minds, well, just like Timothy Chalamet's mom and her people,
Yeah.
they are high levels of power when it comes to the politics of the world. So these people, it's very important to them that whoever they put in charge can be controlled by the Bene Gesserit. They don't want anybody but the emperor to be in charge of anything.
Yeah.
So if the Bene Gesserit can control your mind, all right, well then we're going to do everything we can to push you towards power.
Right.
So they do this for the
Because
nephew.
the Bene Gesserit controlled the world.
Exactly. So the Bene Gesserit can help the empire stay in control. They know they can control him, so they push him forward to be the leader of the people in charge of the spice production.
Yeah.
So Elvis comes to the planet, and the first thing that he does is he sends multiple drones and ships out to where they are in the north and just blast their entire camps until they've killed a bunch of people.
Having ass.
Yeah, they've killed a bunch of people and forced most of them to flee. Okay, so now Timothée Chalamet is like, fuck, we have to go to the south now.
Yeah.
I have to go. Everyone has to go. Because they are going full on blitzkrieg warfare and just fighting us super hard. Mm-hmm. On the other side of this, at the same time, he has come into contact with Thanos. Okay? Now, Thanos was an advisor to his father and one of the leaders of the military for his father. So, he has been stealing spice production machinery from them, and he's been mining spice so that he can then sell it on the black market
And
to
make his
disrupt
money.
the spice market.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's on that path of like he's living in an RV,
Yeah.
doing his own
It's like,
shit out in the West in Montana.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the name of that guy in Star Wars in the Millennium Falcon?
Han Solo.
Like
He's
Han Solo. He's Han Solo.
He's very Han Solo.
He's very Han Solo-esque.
Where he just kind of does his own thing. But
Fuck the
he meets up with
sand.
Paul, and here's what Paul finds out. Paul finds out that the their equivalent of nukes are
10 out of 10.
available.
They have some firepower that they needed.
Yeah, so he finds out that all of their nuclear warheads, they're called something else in the movie. Okay, just understand that this is what they are. Every family, every high family.
Hi, family.
Every high family. Guys, no changes. Every high family.
Mile High family, baby.
Hey!
Access to their own artillery of nuclear warheads.
Right. And they're all hidden. They're all secret.
Thanos tells him, "Hey, we still have those, and we moved them here to Arrakis.
Yeah, so nobody-
Arachnids.
Arrakis.
So they're here on this planet, and I know where they are."
Yeah.
And Paul, aka Timothée Chalamet, he has his father's ring, which would give him access to that artillery. He's like, okay, well, I've got these nuclear warheads, but then he sees a vision of himself using them, and his girlfriend dies.
Love that shot too. It was really
Really
haunting.
It was really terrifying.
So he's like, well, maybe that's not the move, right?
Yeah.
So this is kind of where we're understanding, we're like, okay, so his visions are not 100% guaranteed. Because he wakes up and he sees his girlfriend
Doing
in
the
the same
exact same,
setting and
yeah,
everything,
spotting.
but then she's not dead.
No.
So we're kind of understanding, okay, well, where are these visions going? What are the purpose of them? And
But we're supposed to be as confused as he is because
Exactly.
he's not getting clear visions at this point.
It's intentional this way,
Yeah.
right? So he's like, okay, we have to go to the south now. He only decides to go to the south after he has the voices in his head again.
Right. And his mom has already become the Reverend Mother, and she has gone to the south already. She is spreading the quote unquote the word.
Yeah. So she goes to the
purpose.
south and she basically tells the women
girl
there,
who produces the worm pea.
Yes. So the girl who creates the water of life, which is the water, the liquid from the worms that gives you the ability to see the past, she tells them, a stranger is going to come here and you're going to have to let him drink from it. And they go, him? And she's like, yes. They go, he's going to die. She's like, you have to let him try.
Yeah. And they're like, no, he's going to die.
Going to die.
Yeah.
No man has ever survived this.
And she uses
says,
her mind
shut
powers.
the fuck up and listen to what I'm telling you. And let him try it, or I swear to God, you about to damn piss me off.
I want to speak to a manager.
And she says, I want to speak to a manager right
Your
now.
manager right now.
I want to speak to a manager right now.
Yeah.
She gets the manager, and then the woman says, I am the manager. And she goes, then I want corporate's number.
Then and I am recording you right now. I am recording you.
And I am recording you.
Facebook, are you seeing this? Because I am
Facebook,
gonna lose a lid. I'm gonna blow fuse if you don't get your fucking manager, and excuse my fucking language, but you are pissing me off. And I want let my son drink your fucking worm piss, or you're gonna have the worst Yelp review you've ever had in your fucking life. Do you know? You ever heard of
Facebook? Watch this.
Facebook watch this. You ever heard of Church Barn Butter? Oh, you haven't? It's because I shut them down. One bad review. Let you be the next. Believe me, let you be the next.
Believe you may. And so, as the audience, where we know that Paul is
He is
the
him.
Messiah, right? We know that because we've heard the prophecy.
He is
We've
Jesus.
seen it line up with everything he's
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
Even to
the
the
more
degree,
it goes on, the more you're like, okay,
even
You're
to
like,
the
oh,
degree of him
he's
riding the
Messiah.
worm. There's like
Riding the worm.
carvings of
Carvings
the
on the wall.
Messiah riding
Yeah.
a giant worm, grandfather worm, and he summons a grandfather worm in his first attempt to ride it. Like it's all these
I
things,
want to
right?
watch that scene again.
So
Or is it because we are from the South and we're raised in the South that we just believe we're like, yeah, he's the Messiah?
no,
Dude, if some guy
Do you
came
think
up
so?
and
no, it's because I watch every
Texas,
Harry
like-
Potter movie, and I was like, he's the chosen one.
He's the chosen one. Yeah, true.
is it Harry Potter or is it Jesus?
Anyways, so he hears the voice that has been guiding him throughout his time as someone with magical abilities tell him, you need to go to the south and you need to drink the water of life. So he goes and he's like, I want to drink this. And they're like, get the fuck out of here, white boy. White.
Why?
And he's like,
This shit gonna be too spicy for you.
yeah, bitch. And he goes, he's like, I gotta. And they're like,
And-
okay, that's fine. Here's one of the problems I have with the water of life, okay? And this happens in both the scene where the mom drinks it and the scene where he
He's
drinks
so
it.
upset by this.
It's a whole process to get the worm, raising the small worm, bringing it up, drowning it in water, sticking a thing in it, sucking out of it, and then it creates probably 2 cups worth of liquid.
Not even.
This is the most valuable liquid in their entire existence, and without this, they have no ability to have a maintained history and record of their people. Every time someone drinks it, they take 1 sip and they just pour the rest out. And it's just like
you think they pour it out? I don't
what
think
else
they
are
pour
they
it out.
doing with
They
it?
save it.
Does it expire? I'm assuming it does. Otherwise, you wouldn't have to fucking have to
I
raise
guess
these
that's true.
worms.
Maybe they can pour it back into the worm.
No, that's what I'm saying. You have to make it fresh every time. Apparently,
Yeah.
that's the way they
That's
show
what
it.
Yeah, that's
right?
kind of what it felt like.
So
I thought the mom downed it.
no, dude.
I remember her sipping the whole thing.
No,
think-
no. There's a bunch left when she finishes it. And I remember thinking that in the first
She
one, I was
did
like,
take,
I was
a gulp, but
I was
she didn't drink
Yeah,
the whole thing.
she probably takes a gulp, but he takes a sip.
Yeah.
Okay.
Either way. But
I don't remember that well.
But here's the point. Here's my point. I know that they're doing this for continuity. They're doing this so they can reshoot this scene 10 times, and it's not a big loss of liquid in the jar. And so that part takes me out of it. But at the same time, I'm just I'm just picturing them being life of worm piss taste testers. They're worm piss sommeliers. They're swirling around and then they take a sip. I'm getting a hint of past. Is that present? And then Timothy Chalamet is like, that's future. That's future. I'm getting
It's a hint
the
of-
earthy notes of
getting
future.
future in
I'm getting
this.
earthy notes of future. I'm getting some fruity past. Yeah.
A fruity past.
Which is what I have a fruity past of my own.
Some
I was in
nutty
college.
premonition.
I was in college. It doesn't count.
When he drinks the water, he immediately passes out, and everybody's like, he's definitely going to die. But he sees visions of the future of this planet and it having water and oceans on it again. And he sees his sister that
Ayo.
is currently a baby in his mom's womb. But he sees his
Taylor.
sister as Anya
Anya.
Taylor-Joy. So that's
Wait.
how old she is. She is as old as Anya Taylor-Joy.
Is it Anya Taylor? I thought it was Taylor Anya Joy.
Yo, you want everyone to be a Taylor. Bro. Not
You want
everything.
everyone to be Taylor. And it's
No,
Taylor
everything's bad.
Almond Joy, idiot.
Oh, fuck.
She needs to partner with those. So,
She really does, actually. That'd be a
although
great...
I would never believe that Anya Taylor-Joy eats candy.
That's so true. Yeah, this was a cool cameo.
It was a cool
Yeah.
cameo, and it's also okay, well, she's going to be in the next one.
Yeah,
Whatever.
yeah.
Nice.
Now, he also starts to see visions of the past, right? So he can see how much they have oppressed these people. He can see all the bad things that his family's done. He also sees, and this is a huge spoiler, so if you are really into Dune,
This is the biggest
this
spoiler
is
of the movie.
biggest spoiler of the movie. This is probably
We're
the biggest
not.
spoiler of the series so far. His mom is the daughter of the Baron. So the Baron is a high family as well. And they are the baddest of the bad guys. And so the fact that she is his daughter, this is the equivalent of
Yeah.
in Star Wars when you find out that Rey is the Emperor's daughter or a granddaughter or whatever. It's that significant
Or
in
when
this world.
you find out that
Luke is
what's her face's sister,
Or Darth
and
Vader's
son.
son.
Wait, spoiler alert.
yeah.
Oh my god!
This is massive.
Can you imagine if someone's
sorry.
just now spoiled Luke, I am your father?
He never says that.
He never says it.
Wait. What?
He never says that. The evil witch never says mirror, mirror on the wall. And in Full House, they never call Joey Uncle Joey.
That last one's not true. You're making that up.
Nope.
The kids never call him Uncle Joey.
Never call him Uncle Joey. He's always referred to as Danny's friend or Joey, but not Uncle Joey.
There's only one character that calls him Uncle Joey.
And it's Jesse talking to his kids, not the girls.
Right.
They do not call him Uncle Joey.
It's crazy.
I'm gonna flip I'm gonna blow fuse. I want to speak to a manager right now.
I'm a fuse. Well, I also wanted to mention that at this point in the movie, when has the vision and everything, like he's accepted it fully. This is when Timothée Chalamet gets hot. Okay, he is the embodiment of the Messiah. Like he's like, no one can step up to me. Nothing.
Yeah. He wakes up from this vision and he's like, I'm him, let me cook.
Yeah, honestly, yeah.
Like he knows the only path that will guarantee.
He said, ISO.
Okay, so again, his girlfriend is the one who has to bring him back to life.
Right.
And she
Wake
literally,
me up.
She
Wake
literally
me up
refuses to do this.
inside.
And it's like, guys, it's the end of September. You gotta wake him up.
He literally asked specifically.
When September ended.
It is August 1st.
When I
It is August
specifically
1st.
asked.
It is August 1st.
August, not October? Fuck! We woke him up too early! Way too early!
Oh my
We were
god.
supposed to wait till October! The 8th, it's the... Oh, fuck. So, like, kind of what we mean by this is that when he comes out of this vision, which, by the way, Zendaya has to wake him up from the vision, and she doesn't want to because she's really, really mad at his mom for forcing him to drink this stuff that's going to kill him, like all this stuff. And she has to use her powers on her just to make her bring him back to life. I'm like, you fucking bitch. Like, you love him so much, but you'd rather your petty ass just let him be dead? You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, fuck that. Anyways, she pissed me off in that moment. The fact that she could have brought him back to life and she had to, and she was refusing to until she was forced to. When he comes back to life, he realizes two things. One, he realizes he's him, right? And the second thing he realizes is that the necessity of drinking this water is it enhanced his abilities to the nth degree. And we all now are also fully realized, and this is his arc. This is where he is now the chosen one. This is the Harry Potter post reading the prophecy. This is the Avatar after mastering the Avatar state. You know what I'm saying? It's like all these different things, right? This is Neo stopping all of the bullets. So he is the most powerful of all of these people, and this is shown to us in two different ways. He is now not only able to see his future clearly, so the visions that were blurry and like misconstrued, he understands now that what he was actually perceiving was potential realities. And so he was seeing what could happen if certain things were to go certain ways. So the way that they explain this, so there's a character in Steven Universe who can also see the future, right? And her character, the way that she explains it is very similar to this. And I like the way that she explains it, is it's like time is like a river and there are different routes. Like the river could split off into different directions and it can flow into many different ways. And so what she's able to perceive is all these different possibilities. So once you make a decision, now she knows, okay, well, these other things that could have happened, they're gone. So it starts to narrow down. And so he explains, he says he can see the path. Not exactly what's going to happen, but what things need to happen for the next thing to be what happens next. So he can see what path he needs to take and what decisions he needs to make in order to flow through time, in order to make the results that he wants, and to not be the leader of a religious massacre of all these people that he was so scared of. So it makes it a very interesting final act of the movie where everything he does from here on out, that he knows what he has to do. So this guy is the most fucking hacks cheese lord of all time because everything he does is based on future knowledge, which is fucking cheating, if you ask me.
Not fair.
This is the worst mechanic. This is worse than invisibility in video games.
I disagree, but yeah. So
But yeah, no. So everything he does from this point on, and then the other ability that he gets is, unlike his mother who has this knowledge and can access it, he can see not only everything that has happened in the past for himself, but everything that has happened on this planet and every individual person and their history and their past. He has access to all of this information at will.
He's the Facebook of
Yes.
he has all the secret data that
he's the Messiah. You know what I'm saying? He is omniscient. He has all this at his fingertips. And he knows what he wants to do, and what he wants to do is to win this battle for these people. So, here's what happens for the rest of the movie. I'm going to go through this very quickly, and then we can talk about some of our favorite elements of this movie and go from there, okay? At this point, it's the final battle scene, okay? He sends the Emperor a letter with his father's seal on it saying,
I'm alive, bitch.
so he sends him this letter. He says,
You have fucked around. It's time to find out.
time to find out. Okay? The Emperor's like, fuck me.
The Emperor's like, oh, fuck. No, I have to fight Timothy Chalamet.
Yeah, the Emperor's like,
Fuck no, baby.
yeah, so.
He dips. Florence Pugh's like, Dad?
Yeah. Florence Pugh, then she goes and reads the letter. She knows how bad it is. And she's like, what the hell? Oh my God.
damn
No
it.
way. Guys, I'm so sorry about the drops being so glitchy. The Emperor comes to the planet because he's there to be like, hey, Baron, guess what? Paul Atreides still alive, you motherfucker.
Stupid bitch.
Why did you not
Why?
know this?
Why?
You fucked up.
You fucking idiot.
You idiot. You stupid bitch.
So
We'll take what we can get.
yeah. So here's the final big battle. Okay. Here's the plan. They're going to ambush the city where the bad guys are while the Emperor is there. And Timothy Chalamet and Zendaya and everybody, they all split up and they take their different respective people to different places. Now, Thanos, he goes off and he kills Dave Bautista. And then
Pones his ass.
right, Timothy Chalamet
Took 2 seconds.
goes to the Capitol and he storms the Capitol.
He rightfully fights for democracy.
For democracy.
Okay, he says stop the count.
Stop the count.
He kills.
Bring in the Vikings.
He kills the Baron, right? Because the Baron killed his father, so obviously that's like his main thing. Which, by the way, I loved this part of this movie. When his mom at the beginning was like, your father didn't believe in revenge, and he goes, "Cool, I do."
Yeah, I like that too. He goes,
He's
well,
like,
I do.
I believe in it, so fuck that guy.
I love his line here too. When he stabs the Baron in the neck, he says, "Hey, grandfather," because he knows now that is his actual grandfather, and he says as he's dying, "You die like an animal."
Yeah.
I just love it. He disgraces him.
Yeah,
And
because
I love
guess
it.
what? His father died like a badass. His father, just before his death, releases a poison into the fucking air to kill everyone with him.
Yep.
And he's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm going out. I'm not going out like that." But this guy dies like a bitch.
Yep.
And he says, "You die like an animal." I loved that. I
Yeah,
loved
bar.
that like taking that power that he has over him like that. And which, by the way, he would know exactly how his father died because of that water that he drank. He probably saw it. He can see it whenever he wants because it happened right there on this planet.
Yes, it's a really big story element of this movie that I loved. He becomes a messiah and he says, he doesn't do let's take the higher road. No,
Yeah.
he literally says, after discussing with his mom, hey, by the way, I saw, we're Harkonnens. She goes, well, then how are we going to take over? He goes, by acting like Harkonnens.
Yeah.
He says, we're fighting fire with fire. Fuck this shit. Like,
Yeah. If they're going to be the bad guys, we're going to be badder.
We're gonna be
gonna
badder.
so bad
I
they
love
won't be
it.
able to handle it.
I love it.
I love it.
Fuck the high road. We're taking that shit back.
Exactly. I hate this like bullshit that we see from all these other movies that are like this, where they're like, well, we're the good guys and they're the bad. He's like, no, dude, like we're gonna fuck them up. Like that's the only way that we're gonna win this,
Yep.
So I love that part of it, and I love like how brutal he is to the Baron.
Yeah.
In this moment, and essentially he gets he takes the Emperor hostage or whatever. And he does what the plan was all along as well, which this was a big part of it, is that if he can marry the Emperor's daughter, he's part of a high family. He marries her. They have all the power now. Now, he doesn't tell his girlfriend this. I I know this was a point of contention for Taylor. He brings in the emperor and his daughter, and in front of Zendaya, he's like, "I'll take your daughter's hand in marriage." So he's like, "Well, emperor, in order for me to take your spot, we have to duel, or you can choose your champion." So again, Game of Thrones-esque. This is also reminiscent of
John Wick.
John Wick, yeah, I guess John Wick.
Only just because this final duel just reminded me of John Wick 4.
Yeah, the final duel of John Wick. This is also like very Black Panther-esque. This is what happens in the Black Panther. So again, like I said, because we are taking from a movie that's based off a book that's really old, who's stealing from who, I'm not drawing that line. I think this scene was bad for other reasons. I thought the duel was very underwhelming. They kind of build this thing up, and then it's very quick, and it's him and Elvis, and then he kills Elvis. Even though he gets stabbed twice, he still kills Elvis.
Yes, and I think, oh my God. Play a drinking game. Anytime we bring this movie up, take a drink. In the raid. I think that we're spoiled by fight scenes that actually feel climactic and feel even and feel like, wow, they really fucked each other up in this fight and they're both left, whereas this feels just like but I did appreciate the choreography and camera work during this scene. But I see what you're saying of, oh shit, here comes fucking Elvis and fucking...
And Elvis's whole character is built up as the guy who fights people 1v1.
Yeah, I'm about to fuck you up.
He's the guy, he's the warrior of all warriors.
And then you're just even more hyped because then Thanos is like, let me fucking handle this. Don't even waste your time on this fucking rat. Let me fight him for you. And he goes, nah, dude, I'm fighting this motherfucker. Like,
but the also part of it that makes it anticlimactic as well is, again, you know that he knows the future, so
that's true.
He knows he's not going to die in this battle.
Yeah.
So that's why he's like, oh yeah, I'll let him stab me twice, and if I let him stab me twice, he'll lose his guard. I can stab him.
Yeah. Can you imagine him just kind of staring in the distance, all weird, going, no, I'll fight him.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Trust me, I'll fight him.
But then he's looking at, he's seeing like all the paths where he doesn't get stabbed. He's like, fuck.
Yeah. Or he's seeing a path, and maybe he's like seeing a path where Josh Brolin does fight him. He goes, no, you're not fighting him.
No, you're a fat ass. Anyway, so he fights him. He wins. Timothée Chalamet tells his advisors, as the other high families are arriving, he tells them, go tell them that I said to lay down their weapons and get down on the ground, or I'm going to use my warheads to destroy all spice production, period. Which would fuck up intergalactic travel and all trade routes and all the economy of the entire empire.
It wouldn't destroy, just to be clear, it wouldn't destroy all of the spice, just the production and the stores that they have at this moment.
Which is massive, though.
It's huge.
If we
It's
just
the
destroyed
whole
all
planet.
of the reservoirs of oil that we currently have in other countries, it would be fucking catastrophic.
I think they should,
for our
though.
economy. Now they come back and they're like, "No, we're not going to do that."
Yeah, they said no.
They
and
say
he was
they
like,
say
"Bet."
he's bluffing. Then he's like, "Okay, well, fuck it. We're going to have to do that then."
Yeah.
That's the end of the movie.
As we are at the end of the movie, I did a little bit of research. The first two movies are just this book. They only intend on doing this book.
actually
and
holds it up on an audio-only podcast.
Sorry.
It's based on,
The first-
believe this or not, the book Dune.
So Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, 2021 and 2024, are based on the first Dune novel by Frank Herbert. They Denis Villeneuve is only intending to make Dune and Dune Messiah. Those are the only two books he's intending to write. So they are only expected to write or to make one more movie based on Dune Messiah.
Okay.
So it's gonna be a 3-movie
So
series, a trilogy, not 6 fucking movies.
Okay, so maybe that's why they didn't go the series route.
But
Which
still,
also means good for you, because that means Denis Villeneuve will only make one more.
yes, I hope so.
Yeah, and
just
we'll
love
see
his
it in
other
another
projects
3
a lot,
years.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the end. So
we
this
have
ends
finished
on
book 1.
this ends on a cliffhanger, just like the first
Of
one.
course
Exactly.
it does.
Except this one's a little higher stakes than
Yeah.
just
Exactly.
You're one of us now.
He's
This
gonna
is
Now, of course-
we finna throw down.
Yeah.
Now, of course,
You're gonna go
as soon
after all
as
the
they
houses.
launch the nukes in the air and they're about to land right onto the Capitol, Josh Brolin comes up and he turns to him and he goes, "You gotta have faith."
He holds his rosary and he says, "You gotta have faith."
do you have faith, son? Bars.
And then they play "Hoop de gasolina."
Fantastic movie.
I said we're not going to go through everything that happens in this movie, and I stayed true to that, even though everything you just heard.
Yes.
Yeah, there was
If
so
you're like,
much
this
we
is the
didn't
longest
touch
episode
on.
I've ever heard in my life.
They
Well,
said, if you're thinking, David said they're not going to go through everything, I fucking didn't.
yeah, isn't that insane?
Promise.
Isn't that crazy?
Go see it. It's a masterpiece.
Hey, go
I
see
fucking
it.
love this
We
movie.
didn't even talk about, Leah. I don't know how to pronounce her name. Leah Soido. It's a French actress from Blue is the Warmest Color.
Oh.
She seduces Elvis, and I'm like, I mean, you can seduce me too, baby girl. What the hell?
Bro, and then they go into the room, and I'm
She
like,
have
so it's
shoulders
Elvis
showing?
and her, and then they go into the room, and then we, on the camera, stay outside of the room.
Absolute fucking bullshit.
Shoo.
He literally impregnates her, and I'm like, oh, that part we cut out.
Yeah.
What?
Coward.
Yeah.
Let me see
Didn't
if it's in the
he?
book.
Didn't he?
Let me see
That's
if it's
right.
in the book.
Didn't he?
1 second.
Didn't he?
Is this book smut?
Well, you need to get a new scene in this movie.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a lot.
There's a
that
lot
could
we
be
didn't
covered.
touch on.
We're just trying to stay on the main story beats here,
Right.
Yeah. What do we appreciate? You know, a scene that we didn't talk about is when one of the
Benny Gesserit.
Benny
Benny
Gesserit.
Safdie Joshua Tree. One of them.
Joshua Trees.
One of them. Yeah. She seduces him, and in the scene, they're walking down this corridor with a bunch of flashing ink blots.
That was
in this-
so
it's
fucking
like their
cool.
version of
of fireworks.
Yes,
it was
and
really
and
cool.
it made this really awesome strobe effect.
Everything from that
I
planet,
don't know
thought was
how they
really
did
cool.
it.
It's really
I
cool.
don't know.
loved it.
Loved the
Again,
effect.
every switch to that planet could have been a different episode if they were doing a miniseries.
Yeah, very cool. And so that was awesome. Do we want to go ahead and just talk about our favorite parts of the movies, least favorite parts?
Yeah,
Is there
I think
anything that
that's
It's a
important.
good idea.
So
Good idea.
I told you guys what my favorite scene in the movie was, and it was that the scene of Batista and him getting him and his people trapped in that scene.
Yeah.
It was just very creative.
Yeah.
the Uno reverse card scene, if you
Yeah,
will.
essentially. And, yeah, I'm gonna come fuck you up and then he gets fucked up. Now, also, by the way, Dave Bautista's death scene, very anticlimactic as well. Josh
Yeah.
Brolin just comes up, stabs him in the neck immediately. He's dead. No fight scene, no nothing.
Yeah.
It was very much Brock Shadow versus Big Red esque.
Yes, it was.
Brock Shadow is linked on our link link tree. So if you go,
It is, yes.
So if you go to our Instagram at Wild Dream Pod, and then you go to the link tree on that profile, Brock Shadow is linked on there. So every
Yeah.
time we bring this up, if any of you guys are like, I
Still
don't know what they're
haven't
talking
seen
about,
it.
or I
It's
haven't
on the
seen
link
that,
tree.
fucking
Easy to
just
find.
go watch it.
Just
okay?
go watch it.
Go
Go see us make
watch
fun of
it.
action movies.
So that you
Not to
understand what
sound
we're
like an OnlyFans model, but link in bio.
Link in
Link in
bio.
bio. Now, to sound like an OnlyFans model, no, I'm just kidding. I know I had nothing to go with.
Come see my Dussy.
Guys, my Dussy series just dropped. Please check your inbox.
All right, you're gonna have to cut that.
There's got to
'cause
be a male OnlyFans guy who's doing the Dussy content.
There has to be.
It has to be.
Let me Google it.
I actually don't. You probably won't even pull anything up.
We can't use it.
Oh my god, I fucking hate you so much. Oh my god. Okay.
That stays in.
That
It stays in.
That's too funny to not say it.
Can't get rid of either of the jokes.
There's no way someone immediately thought to do that when they got the Dussy last night.
Probably wouldn't even pull anything up. Oh my god.
That's why
It's
the
a thing
bathroom
he
door
does
was
all the
locked.
time, but that was just so fucking funny though.
And I thought my joke was funny. Damn.
All right. My least favorite part of this movie, if I had to poke at one person's performance, I don't love Zendaya in this movie. I think her character is very one-dimensional. And she's probably the only one-dimensional character in the whole movie. In fact, she doesn't really even have an arc. You know, she is the same person at the beginning of the movie as she is at the end of the movie. She still doesn't even believe he's the Messiah at the end, even after everything he does. Like, her character is just so flat to me. Like I said, normally this is the part where we would bitch about the length. I actually don't have an issue with the length of this movie. I think it needed to be this long. I do think they used their time very well. Which again,
Yeah.
Denis Villeneuve, I'm not surprised. You know,
Right.
he's a fantastic director. The pacing is incredible. The editing is really, really good. They don't dwell on things for too long. So Should I be bitching about it for the sake of the pod? Yes. But I'm always here to give you guys my true, honest, fresh takes on the latest movies. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah. I'll put it this way. This was like 10 minutes shorter than Beau is Afraid.
Right.
Think about that. Like that, it did not feel that long at all.
Nope.
At all.
Nope.
So, compared to that movie. Yeah. Taylor, what are your favorite? What's your favorite scene? Least favorite scene?
I have a hard time with movies like this thinking of my favorite part and least favorite part because there's so much fucking content to consume.
Fair.
And this is mostly on Timothée Chalamet's acting in this scene, just in general. And it's 2 scenes that were my favorite. The first one was when he shouted at his mom and David was like, oh no, please don't do that. I would be smacked into the next week.
There's a scene where him and his mom are arguing and he's saying that she shouldn't be spreading the
She
lies
shouldn't be
about the
giving
religion.
them hope in lies.
Yeah. And she says, well, we gave them hope. And then he screams at her, that's not hope. And he screams so loud, it like echoes throughout the thing. And my first thought was my mom would beat my ass so fast if I yelled at her like that.
I loved that scene. And just simply for the fact that at this point, just because of how aggressively so many people in this movie were denying it, I wasn't convinced that Paul was the Messiah. I thought, I was like, maybe they're confused, maybe it's not real, blah, blah, blah. So I was like, okay, that's, he genuinely believes he is not the Messiah, things like that. So it added another level to the movie for me. And then later when after he drinks the worm pee and he believes he's the Messiah and he goes into that room with all of the, what is in that room? All the great leaders and shit?
No, it's all of the Fremen.
All of the Fremen. Yeah.
And their different houses and their different, the different levels of belief essentially.
Yeah.
Between them.
And he goes in that room, he makes this big speech. And during he's making this big speech, he realizes who he is and things like that.
So essentially they tell him the only way that you can be our leader is if you kill the current leader. But the current leader is his mentor. So he's like, Stilgard. So he's like, I'm not going to do that. He's like, why would I waste? I forget what he
I love that line. Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Something along the lines of like, would you break a knife before a fight? Would you shatter your knife before a fight?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, no, you wouldn't. He knows that we're about to go to war. This guy's a fantastic leader and a great military mind.
Yeah.
Why would I fucking kill him?
Exactly.
Another
bullshit
element
tradition.
of the movie that I love, saying, fuck this dumb ass tradition.
Yeah, exactly.
This makes no sense. And he says it so quickly and moves past it immediately. He goes, why would I get rid of my best soldier right now? This is so fucking stupid. Okay, now listen. I am the Messiah. Like, amazing element. He goes, fuck this tradition forever. This is dumb. Next. Dude, love that.
Yeah. No, that was the exact moment I was talking about. Because during that time, his mom, Jessica, the Reverend Mother, was like, slow down. You need to stop talking. You're going to lose all of the ground that she's built. Because at this point, she's been working really hard to make sure everyone believes. And she's like, you're going to lose that if you keep talking to herself. And he does that. He's like, I would never do that. And then he walks up to the guy who was like, you have to kill him. And he eventually says Dune, which is the name of something I can't remember.
They reference Dune both as literally sand dunes and also as the world.
Yeah, as the name of something that I can't remember at the moment.
And then he says Dune Part 2. And I was like, oh,
he does
shit.
not.
That's the name of the movie.
And then at the end, the last line of the movie, see you in Dune Messiah.
See you in Dune Messiah.
He goes, but this is Dune Messiah.
But no, it's just those 2 scenes were I'm considering them one because of how impactful they were, and again, just solely on Timothée Chalamet's ability. He genuinely, like, I'll be honest, I did not take him seriously as an actor for a while before this movie. But I think he has done an incredible job acting as this character, even as somebody who has not read these books and I don't know the depth of this character.
Well, I think it's the right role for him.
Yeah.
Oh, you're going to play this Nepo baby who was born into privilege.
Right.
And you're like a young, weak, whatever, so you have to get trained how to... It's like... Yeah, this is a great casting.
It's a perfect casting for him. Also, He looks real hot after he believes he's the Messiah. I get the hype now. Okay, guys, I get it.
Yeah, she may or may not be married to a narcissist, and that could be affecting her.
Wait, what?
She's like, oh man, when he thinks he's the best at everything that he does, it's so fucking hot. When he thinks he's better than everyone, oh my God.
Listen, the confidence.
That's funny.
And then my least favorite part, there's one scene where him and Zendaya are quote unquote fucking. And it felt really out of place. I understand they had a relationship, but they hadn't fleshed it out this much.
They hadn't what?
They had not fleshed out their relationship that much enough for me to even, and maybe it's just the cultures in this movie that I didn't think that they were allowed to fuck at this point.
Yeah, well, Taylor reads so much smut. She was like, wait, they're having sex, but he's not even choking her.
Well, no, she
slapped her in the
sucked
face
his
and said,
dick.
"You're mine."
She hadn't let him touch her. I was like,
she was like, where are all the cocks and pussies?
Where was the buildup?
That's where I read all the time.
I do read a lot of smut.
Where's his person and her slit? I don't understand.
I'm just saying, in one of the most recent smutty books I read, there was a lot of buildup, okay? But I didn't believe it. I don't think Zendaya and Timothée Chalamet have a lot of chemistry.
Yeah, he doesn't look anything like her regular, boring white boyfriend IRL. They're completely different people in my mind.
I'm just saying, any scenes with these two showing affection towards each other, I don't really believe it. And it might be Zendaya, it might be Timothy, I don't know, but I just don't think they have enough chemistry.
That's what I'm saying, because he's Tim, but then her boyfriend's Tom.
David!
They're just completely different.
Yeah, mine is extremely similar to Taylor's. My favorite scene, without a doubt, is him announcing that he's the Messiah to the people. Mm-hmm. It was the most amount of chills I got during any scene in the movie.
Yeah.
He starts telling people each and singularly picking people out and telling them exactly what they think of, what they've seen, what they dream about. Just
very powerful.
Just telling them shit that no one could possibly know unless they're the fucking Messiah.
Mm-hmm.
Until they drop to their knees.
They all drop to their knees, and he starts
All at the
acting
same
his
time.
fucking ass off. This little guy who's fucking 90 pounds soaking wet feels
Willy
very
Wonka.
powerful. He feels very like I would bow because he is he really, and it's to me obviously it is a testament to his acting, but not as obvious. It's Denis Villeneuve's
Directing, yeah.
I have seen
Definitely.
amazing performances in all of his movies. He is clearly an insanely talented director.
Right.
He makes me believe that Timothy Chalamet is powerful. I mean, come on.
Timothy Chalamet
Even though I
got
could
power.
probably knock him out
Yeah.
in one hit. One good solid hit.
Dusting his ass with all due respect. But yeah, it's just like amazing scene, great acting, great directing, beautiful music during this scene too. The score gets more and more big as it keeps going, and you hear the chorus of everyone chanting like "Wah!" and I'm ready to go to fucking war,
Yeah.
dog. So it's like amazing scene.
Now, can I just say real quick, just for both of you guys, the reason why I'm not as high on that scene as you guys is part of me.
Oh, no.
There's a part of me that just felt during that scene, I was like, this is the scene in every Christmas movie when Santa's trying to make you believe he's real. He goes, well, when you were 5 years old, you wanted a bike for Christmas.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, but
It's that, but just and everything
in
else.
sci-fi, yeah.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, but I was
And
the
what about
most.
you, Carol? When you were 9, you wanted a Barbie playhouse with all of the stuff.
It was just the scene in the movie that I was the most mesmerized.
I know,
I was
I
the
agree.
most into the movie. You know?
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not.
You're not
saying that
disagreeing,
It wasn't-
it's just- it's when
it was
Santa's
a fantastic
convincing.
scene.
Yeah.
I just also agree that it's also fantastic when Santa just fucking drops these bombs on people. People are like, "Oh shit,
You
that's
wanted a
Santa!"
fire truck when you were 7.
Oh my god! Did anyone else know that?
All right, sorry, Dan. Sorry.
Sorry. Your least favorite part?
my least favorite part of the movie is the romance stuff.
See?
Now I'm opposite of you though. Mm-hmm. Before you get excited,
Okay.
I thought the way that they handled the sexual side of things was
Yeah.
amazing. I don't care about them fucking. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see build up. I don't want to see him fingering her on the sand
No,
dune
that's
beach.
not what I was
I don't want to
saying.
see them stroke each other's hand gently.
You don't want the moonlight scene, but
I don't want the
Timothée
moonlight
Chalamet's
scene.
there. She hasn't seen it.
It's so good.
What
It'll
movie?
make you cry.
Moonlight.
I I just don't care for the rom-com shit. I don't care. It's some of my least favorite.
Yeah.
When it's handled accurately, well,
It's still
and
your least favorite part?
No, when it's I can appreciate it.
Yeah.
When it's handled well and complicated and honest and real, aka like
Yeah.
there's so many complexities to a relationship. A Blue Valentine. Sometimes it's amazing, sometimes it's awful.
Yeah.
But anyways, it's just I don't care about the I think I like this little life. Man, fuck this.
my God.
I don't like that type. I don't like that
Yeah.
type of whatever. So I would have been cool without all the lovey-dovey
Yeah.
shit.
Guys, that was Dune.
Score.
I'm gonna give Dune.
What's the big score?
What's the big score?
I'm actually
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God.
I'm
What's it going to be?
very high on this movie.
Oh, someone's got some spice in his system.
I'm gonna go
He
9.
doesn't.
9 out of 10?
I'm going 9.
What?
Listen, again,
Holy
freshest takes on the latest movies. When I think about the last movie that I gave that score, which was Spider-Man, I don't think a movie has captured me as much as this movie
Yeah.
has since then. And just like that movie, very long, and I didn't care.
Yeah.
That's massive for me.
Yeah.
I cannot, if I can watch a movie for longer than 2 hours and be absolutely enthralled the entire time, to the degree of which I would go back and see it again, is huge. Like
Yeah.
even Oppenheimer, I had no interest in watching that movie.
I loved
again.
Oppenheimer.
You know what I'm saying? But this movie, I will go see again. I'll
Yeah.
probably go see it in theaters again. It was that good to me. Now, given some time, will I probably go lower on it? Maybe. But as of right now, like that's where I'm at with this movie. It was
Yeah.
fantastic. I know we're just starting March, but still, I think it's the best movie that I've seen this year so far. And I think I want this to be the litmus for the rest of this season, the rest of this year. Mm-hmm. This is where I want that 9
Definitely
to be at.
agree with. I would
Yeah.
love. Come
Yeah.
on, man. No more. It lives inside.
Godzilla
no
v.
more.
Kong, give me a 9.
Godzilla. I promise you, it's not a 9.
Give me a 9.
But this
No,
movie
it
has
looks like
this
Dawn of the
movie-
Planet of the Apes.
This movie has the content to have the ability to do that.
Yeah.
And they executed it. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I agree.
Because if they don't execute on this concept of this movie with the content that exists for this, like the what they had, the source material, then it's a very teetering. It's a 9 or it's a fucking 2. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like that's
yeah.
how complex this is.
Yeah.
So the fact
when
that
you're doing an
executed-
adaptation, you literally only have the option of being a 10 or a 1. You only have the option.
yeah.
Because if you do it wrong, you're fucked. You just lost billions.
Yeah, because we're all gonna go, no, fuck that.
No, fuck
Which is
that.
what's
Exactly.
happened. Even Marvel has done that. Madam
Yeah.
Web right now is doing that.
Yeah, literally.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it is possible. Fucking, they tried to reboot Fantastic Four like 3
Yeah,
times.
exactly.
You know what I'm saying? If you do not hit that nail on the head, it's done. And it's
Yeah.
really like that's like what Timothy was saying about this being like he's reading
Yeah.
articles about this being industry shattering and all this stuff. Do I think it's like that much crazier than Game of Thrones or Star Wars?
No.
But the fact that I'm comparing it to 2 of the greatest pieces of cinematic history is massive.
Yeah.
To say, oh, well, this is just like Game of Thrones, greatest show ever made. This is just like Star Wars, the most fucking foundational sci-fi series of all time. That's a big deal. So
Yeah.
I think that I just can't go lower than a 9 for this
Yeah.
movie right now. We'll see. With time, we'll see.
Yeah.
Always possible, but that's the point of the show, baby.
Exactly. Fresh
Rated how we're feeling.
On the last 2 movies, again, coming from the perspective of somebody that watched Lord of the Rings, that has seen Game of all of those things, I'm giving it a 10. I do not have the same rating system as these 2. And I will... after-
Well-deserved air horn.
After we watched the second one, I immediately wanted to come home and rewatch the first one to see all those little Easter eggs and everything. I want to read this book now, despite how I only got into 18 pages the first time around. Like I am in.
She's hooked.
I'm hooked.
Yeah, I'm not as high on this one as y'all.
Yeah.
I'm actually, I believe I gave an Oppenheimer like a 7.5.
I think you did.
I'm feeling the same kind of area of score. This is definitely closer to an 8 than a 7. Obviously, this is more of an 8 than a 7 of a movie. It is a blockbuster.
Yeah, definitely.
It does have bad guys shoot, but they miss when they try. They could get the guy that could be killed. Oh, my aim's bad now.
Yeah.
It ends on a cliffhanger, and that's not a fully contained, fleshed out story. So there's
Okay.
it just can't be
I
high
can
for me.
understand that.
And then I'm kind of feeling the same as Oppenheimer, where it's like, what an incredible theater experience.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really want to watch the movie again, either of them,
Mm-hmm.
but there are specific scenes of both movies that I want to go watch again.
Yeah.
So it's like so similar in that way. Now, maybe here's what I'll do. I'm going to say Dune gets a 7.7. It's a little higher than Oppenheimer because it's not a fucking biopic.
Fair. Fair.
But both have
But it is a
incredible
source material.
It is source material. Both incredible filmmaking aspects. But yes, it's just this is not my type of movie in terms of what I get a lot out of, which
Yeah.
is an actually contained story from all the way from A to Z done.
Yeah.
So since it's clear it's just setting up Dune 3, it's going
Yeah.
to drop a couple points for sure.
Part of my score is incorporating the fact that I don't do partial scores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? If I did,
So you got to lean one way or the other.
yeah, I'm talking 8.5, 8.6, but closer to the 9 than an 8.
Exactly.
I cannot go down to an 8 for me.
10
So I
right
can see
here,
why you
baby.
say
10.
I can see why you say like, oh, you gave
Yeah.
Yeah.
Into the Spider-Verse a 9. So yeah, I gave it a really high 8. And even then, is it still an 8.8 for me? I don't know.
That's the thing, is like, because I don't do half numbers or anything, Spider-Man for me is closer to like 9.3, 9.4.
Yeah, like
Whereas
seriously.
this is like 8.5, 8.6.
Yeah.
But I don't do those because I like simplicity and I go the YMS route and not the Dave Portnoy.
Yeah. So that is our review of
That's
Dune 2.
Dune. So
that's
Now,
Dune
Sorry
2,
for the 6-hour episode.
Now, guys, because this episode is a lot longer, this is a massive movie. We're not going to be doing a part 2 for this. We've talked a lot about the book. That's why Taylor was on here for this.
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about the first movie as well.
We've talked a lot about other fantasy movies.
Exactly. We've compared
And
it to
we've
a lot of
compared
other
it a
fantasy
lot.
movies.
and I feel like we can predict the trivia is going to be a lot of nonsense. You know what I
Right.
mean? That's
Yeah.
It's going to be
Yeah.
a lot of this is what's in the book and
they're
what's
just-
not in here.
The
And what's in
Huckins are
here.
the Hoobie
And that's
Flimmy
what's in
Flams.
here and
Yeah.
not in the book and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
In 4 years, when they release the next one, I'll come on with the book review.
So you're just getting our takes on this as
Yeah.
we understand it, from our limited knowledge of the series and everything like that. We hope that it was insightful to you. We know a lot of people out there really wanted to hear what we thought about this movie.
Yeah.
We've already been getting messages.
Yeah.
Saying, have you guys seen Dune yet?
Have you seen Dune? Have you seen
It's
Dune?
a big movie.
We gave
It
you
is a
exactly
big
what you
movie.
wanted, and we gave you a little bit more content in the main part
Especially
of the episode.
because there's been a long break. You deserved a longer
Exactly.
episode.
You deserved a longer episode. We're not going to waste time with a part 2.
What we're trying to say is you're welcome.
You're welcome.
But thank you guys for coming back. I hope you guys are excited for season 4. We are always taking listener submissions. Now we're taking them straight out of the Dusty. So
We're
please
shit.
send those into us.
The listener submissions have never mattered more than now.
No.
Okay.
The Dussy shall decide.
The Dusty shall decide. Now, the sticker that we're talking about, we did create a sticker. It's our first piece of merch. This is a sticker of the original logo. So if you want to prove that you are an OG fan of the show, you can have a sticker of the original logo. This is out for a limited time. So if we don't get sales on it, especially, it's going to be even more limited, talking maybe in the next month, and then it will be gone. So
And it'll also discourage us of making any future merch.
that is also true.
So
So I'm
if
not
you
trying to
don't
say,
like it, we
oh,
won't have anything else.
whatever. It's like, yeah, it is expensive for us to have to do something like this. It's a cost for us. So we're just trying to gauge interest at this time. That's why it's a limited thing, and that's why it's just this one product right now. Will we make merch for the new logo? Probably. Will we make merch for our sayings and things like that? Yes, if this sticker goes well. So I'm not trying to put that much pressure on you guys, but
A little pressure.
But the weight of the world is in your hands.
I don't want to then say, oh yeah, we're never doing merch again. And then everyone goes, why not? And I go, because the sticker didn't sell. And you're like, well, I didn't want that. I wanted other stuff. It's like, well, I'm telling you right now, if you don't buy this shit, I'm not going to work. I'm not going to
We
put in the
won't
work.
do it.
Because guys, I don't know if you guys know, but we don't make money from this podcast.
We actually have to spend the money to make this.
And-
And
spend a lot of
nobody's
money,
making this
a lot of
for us.
time.
We're making this merch.
Yeah.
Like, that's us.
Yeah.
So if you want to support the show, go and get that. It'll push us to want to do more merch for you guys. Also, you can find that by the same place that you can get involved in the conversation.
Linktree.
And that's going to be on the link tree. That's on all of our social medias. That's at Wild Dream Pod on Instagram, TikTok, and X.
We're on Threads too.
We're on Threads now.
Are we on Threads?
Official
X
producer,
is irrelevant.
official producer of the pod says X is irrelevant.
X
We're
is
on Threads
irrelevant.
now.
I'm actually
Wow.
going to take down X soon. We really
We
don't
don't.
We are
use
moving
it.
off of X
We are
and
moving
officially
off of
onto
X.
Threads.
We are on Threads.
Wow, big huge announcement.
huge
Huge announcement that even me and Daniel were just finding out about.
Gracie knew before us.
But we
yeah.
do trust Taylor, producer of the pod, with all this, and she
sure
works
do.
very hard on this social media. So if you want to support her, if you're a big Taylor stan, go like our posts and comments, and
That's
that helps
right.
us out,
Yeah.
okay? Because she works hard on this stuff. We thank you guys so much for the support of the show. We're so excited to finally be back. We will be putting out the projects that we worked on and during the break here soon. So keep an eye out for that. But until then, and until next week, we love you. We kiss you. Good night.
Oh, yeah. Come here. Put your tongue in there a little bit. You had a long day. I can taste it.
Get out my dussy.
I was just about to say.